And we're live. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Live. Thank y'all for being here tonight. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me live in the show, and I appreciate y'all for that. We got a whole lot going on. There's quite a bit to discuss tonight. Oh, there's a lot. I didn't even do all the videos I wanted to do specifically about these topics, so we're going to get into it today. The main topic for me, the elephant in the room for me, is going to be that White House censorship. ABL, you're paranoid. There's no censoring the conservatives. That's just a right-wing talking point. I can't tell. We're going to get into it for sure a little bit later in the show. Also, we got an update on the Runaway Democrats. Remember the Runaway Democrats that came from Texas? They went to D.C. to prevent from voting on the House floor about some voting right bills that the Republicans wanted to push through. We have an update on them. Also, we got to talk about the NAACP out there in Fairfax County, Virginia, where at least one lady and her threats, or a thing that could be considered a threat. Baltimore public schools, what's going on with them? I mean, there was bad enough. You had the kid that had a 0.13 GPA and was ranked basically middle of the pack in his class. But when you see the full scope of the whole situation, it's going to be crazy. We'll talk about all those things and more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And I thank y'all again for joining. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you are right here with me live on the show, and I appreciate y'all for that. Thank y'all for being here tonight. If you enjoy the content in general, go ahead and get the video a thumbs up. Also, like the video, share the video, do whatever you can. This particular podcast, as all my live shows are, will be available on your favorite audio streaming platform, whether it be Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, etc. A link for that will be in the description box. You can also go to your favorite audio streaming platform and search ABL Live. I should pop right on up. Okay, now there's a lot we're going to get into tonight. There's quite a bit. I kind of want to bury the lead a little bit. I kind of want to get to the bigger thing a little bit later once everybody's able to come in and get what they got to get done, accomplished. I think I want to start with a thing that's not even on my list because I have a limit of characters I can put right there. I have a 100 character limit. So there's one thing right there that's not up there, but it is in the description of this video. And that is Caitlyn Jenner, also known as Bruce Jenner, formerly known as Bruce Jenner, I should say. You know, I can't say AKA because anyway, I digress. Anyway, so quote unquote, Caitlyn Jenner, you guys know, is allegedly running for governor of California, right? And by the way, the California race is a pretty packed house. You got a lot of good guys. You got Larry Elder. You threw his name in the hat. I forget my man's name, Anthony Tremino, if I said his name correctly. You have Rick Grinnell. There's a lot of guys that are running for the seat. Once you get Gavin Newsom up out of there, there's a lot of guys that are running on the right side. Do they have a chance? It's hard. It's very hard. Like, if you are a Republican president running, Trump or no Trump, any Republican president running in California, good luck getting 25-30% of the vote. Good luck. California's too big. There are certain parts of the state that are very conservative, and then there are certain parts that are extremely liberal. I'm talking about so liberal, smoking crack in the middle of the street in the middle of the daytime while you just use the bathroom right there on top of the center line. The median in the street is no big deal, right? It's not really a big deal. I'm talking about that liberal in certain parts of the state. Other parts of the state, you got a lot of great patriots out there, people that want to do right, people that love the flag, they love the country, legal immigrants, people that want to have the border be closed. You have all of that in California, but unfortunately, the problem is I think that the former outweighs the latter, meaning the people that say it's all right to smoke crack and doo-doo on the floor in the middle of the street in the daytime in front of kids and everything else, it's more of them than the conservative people that want to see the nation go forward. So it's going to be hard for anybody that's conservative to get into that seat and make anything happen. Enter Caitlyn Jenner. Now, the big buzz behind quote unquote Caitlyn is the fact that you have this person that is transgender, obviously LGBT, and they say they're conservative, right? So if there's any chance for conservatives to win, it'd be with him, them, her, him, whatever the pronouns are, right? That's the thought process. But you got to think a little bit deeper. Is this even serious? Is it even serious? I saw, quote unquote, Caitlyn on Tucker Carlson talking about their allegiance is not to the Republican Party. It's not to conservatism. It's to the LGBT community. I'm like, all right, okay. So if you're going to be the governor, like if you're actively trying to run for governor and you go on TV and say something like that, then you're alienating a lot of your base, right? Because not everybody in California, I mean, surprise, surprise, not everyone in California is LGBT. Some are straight. I would go as far as to say, a shocker, that the majority, the overwhelming majority of Californians are straight. I know it's hard to hear. I know it can be painful. It can be triggering. Someone may hear that and need a therapist afterward. I understand. I get it. I feel you. I'm right there with you. However, it's just the reality. It is just the reality. Contrary to what you may see on television, through commercials, TV shows, movies, whatever, contrary to what you see on social media, the reality is that the overwhelming majority of people in America and in the world are heterosexual. Like 99%, something like that. I'm not sure about the exact numbers, but I know it's not too far off of 99%, 98%, something like that, right around that. It's to the point where some of these extreme minorities are just overrepresented when you're talking about the United States and television and movies and everything else. When you see a gay couple every other, time you turn on television, it's like, is it an agenda? Are you oversaturating television with this kind of programming to send a message, to show solidarity, or is it about propaganda? I don't know, but I digress. The whole point is that Caitlyn, quote unquote, said that their allegiance is not to the Republican Party. It's not to conservatism. It's to the LGBT community. That's what he said on TV. I didn't make it up. You can look it up for yourself. It was Caitlyn Jenner on Tucker Carlson's show. He said it out of his own mouth. It wasn't written. It wasn't a tweet. He said it on TV, verbally, audio, video. Moving right along. Is he a serious candidate? Because let's not forget, a big part of the reason why Caitlyn Jenner's in the running is because of it's because of their fame. First, when they were Bruce back in the day, they were on the Wheaties box. They were a great American Olympian. And I'm not sure how that works. I mean, all right, if you were Bruce when you won the gold medal and now you become Caitlyn, do you still keep the gold medal because you won it as somebody else? Are you still that person? Are you still the guy that was on the Wheaties box? Although you're not necessarily a guy anymore? How does that work? And as far as that fatal accident, how does that work? I mean, did that happen when you were still Bruce, or how does that really go? It's like, all right, if you get charged with a crime, suspected of a crime, and all of a sudden you like, hey, that's not me no more. My name's not ABL no more. My name's, I don't know, NBA. My name is NBA. I'm not ABL no more, so that's not me. How does that really work? I don't know. But anyway, moving right along. Let's not forget that this person became popular not just from the Olympics, but also from reality television, the Kardashians, the Kardashian clan. And we know how Kim got famous. Don't anybody be vulgar in here, but we already know what it is. Kim and Courtney and Chloe. Anyway, and who else? The mother, the madam of the whole operation, Chris. So we already know what's going on with that family and how they got to be where they are. Is he still part of that whole thing? I read an article today that says that Caitlyn is going to Australia to film Big Brother. Like right now. Aren't you campaigning right now, sir? How are you going to be going to Australia when you should be campaigning to become governor of California? Oh, it was a prior engagement. All right, it's a prior engagement, but check it out. Didn't you already know you had that prior engagement before you were going to run to become the governor? Maybe You might not be able to run if you got to go do reality TV. Big Brother, like, aren't you locked in the room for 24 hours for some weeks? I don't watch Big Brother. I've seen clips of it online. But how does that really work? Like, aren't you not going to be able to leave? And you're in a whole different country. You're trying to become the governor of California and you're going to Australia. And it's funny how that works. The rules for thee, not for me. I'm going to get to more about that in a minute, because isn't Australia under a lockdown right now? I think they say you can't leave if you're a citizen. And if I'm wrong, let me know. I'm reading different things. Sometimes you get real news and fake news mixed together. But I'm reading the so-called reputable news sources, and we know how sometimes these news sources get things wrong, right? They'll put out something that's totally fake, totally false, and be like, oops, sorry, didn't mean to do it, and issue a retraction, and they bury it in like page 495, and you never see it. But anyway, I read that you cannot leave Australia, and you're only able to go to Australia if you live there. Matter of fact, I heard that you can't leave and you might not be able to return. Like, you might not be able to leave certain countries. Whatever it is, I don't think that if he was just a regular normie, Caitlyn or Bruce or whoever would not be able to go to Australia. If he's just trying to go, like if I was just trying to go hang out in Melbourne or something like that right now, I might not be able to do it. But because you got monies and you're going to be part of the reality show, and Australia wants that reality show money, because let's be clear, they said that Caitlyn's going to get about $325,000 for his appearance on Big Brother Australia. So if you get one person that's getting $325,000, how much is Australia going to get? And let's not forget this part. Australia is a small country, only about 25 million people, thereabout. That's less than California, Texas, Florida, if I'm not mistaken. So we're talking about a very small country. It's big as far as land area, but it's small population. Most of the population is on the coast. You know, the interior of the nation, aside from the coast, is pretty much all desert. There's not too much out there, right? You try to live out in the outback, it's going to be difficult for you to do so. It's worse than living in like Nevada or somewhere like that, or Phoenix, because it's flat and it floods. But anyway, different story. So how are you going to be traveling when you got these restrictions going on? And how are you going to be going and filming a reality show where you can't even really leave for weeks, months, maybe? I'm not really sure how long it lasts. While at the same time, you're trying to become the governor of California. Is he even a serious candidate? I don't think so. And then you flip-flopping on policies. I think one thing people liked was that Caitlyn or Bruce or whoever, the artist formerly known as Bruce, I think one thing people liked was that he was saying that if you're transgender, you shouldn't be competing against males. I think it's really unfair if you're transgender and you want to compete against girls. If you're a male, that's unfair. That's what he said, right? So we're like, yeah, we got somebody that's transgender saying that you shouldn't be a male transgender competing against biological women, right? Well, a male that is now identifying as female competing against biological women, he says that's unfair. Now, he kind of like backtracked on that, talking about, well, if you transition at an early age, if you start at an early age, then you can compete. It's like, what's the difference? At the end of the day, it's not like if you start your transition early that you're not going to be a male anymore. You're still going to, your biology is not going to change. If you start your transition early, first of all, you shouldn't be doing that anyway, because are we going to have little children transforming themselves? We're going to have kids 5, 6 years old talking about, yeah, I'm a girl now. Is that what we're going to do? If someone wants to be an adult and do that to themselves, I don't got no problem with that. You call yourself whatever you want to call yourself. You get to be an adult. I've seen people become lizards in their mind. All right, cool. You want to split your tongue down the middle, had a little fork like a snake or a gecko or something like that. You want to be the gecko in real life. Have at it. Swing for the fences. I don't really care. That's your body, your choice, right? That's what they always tell me. So it's whatever. However, when you try to say that as biological male, you're now female and you want to go to women's restrooms, you want to go compete against, no, let's not do that. Let's just not have that be the case. And let's not have kids make that kind of decision that could change their lives. Kids go through phases. You 8, 9 years old, you might have thought you wanted to be an astronaut, you wanted to be anything. You get a microscope and say, you know what, I'm going to discover a new medicine or vaccine or something like that. And then you say, you know what, I don't really want to do that no more. And then you end up becoming a welder. Ain't nothing wrong with that, but I'm just saying you got to be able to have experiences as a child and not be forced into a life-changing thing that will rob you of having a proper childhood. So when he said that, there was a lot of things wrong with what he said. So as far as Caitlyn Jenner, I don't think that Caitlyn's being serious. I think that Caitlyn is just trying to get some attention, trying to get some publicity. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time we've seen something like this. It would not be the first time because we know how that family does. They do publicity stunts all the time. This is what they do. So nothing surprises me anymore when it comes to this family. I don't think they're really going to be in the running. They may as well drop out. If you're going to go over to Australia, you might must run to get stuck there. But then again, I forgot, if you are a celebrity and you have money and you got connections, you could do whatever you want. You can go on the plane, no mask. It's fine. You can do whatever you want. You can not go to work, still get paid. That's kind of how they operate. But I digress. Thank y'all again for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. We got a lot going on tonight that I'm going to get to for sure. Now, I kind of want to get to, let's talk about the runaway Democrats, and then I'm going to get to some more stuff. So did you guys see the update on the runaway Democrats? I thought that was hilarious. Now, we all know what the runaway Democrats did or what they were trying to do, right? So you have a bunch of Democrats in Texas, and rather than voting, which is what it's supposed to do, on this bill to become law as far as changing the voting laws or at least updating them with some real basic stuff, they said, okay, no 24-hour voting. So you can't just go like it's IHOP and vote in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning with your pajamas and your bonnet on. You can't do that. You can go about 9 o'clock at night and it's fine, but you're out there at 3 o'clock in the morning, you can't do that. So they were going to stop that. They also were going to stop. What else are they going to stop? It was the all night voting. Oh, and also if you want to vote by mail, you got to show an ID. It was basic things like that. Nothing really major, real basic stuff. They were also going to expand voting in certain places. It seems pretty basic to me, but they have an ulterior motive. The Democrats don't want that to pass because they want the federales to control what the states do. They want to go sponsor the federal legislation. I think it's called the For the People Act. They want to have that be what it is, to remove voter ID, things of that nature. So they want to federalize elections, taking power away from the states, which is where it should be, and give it to the federales and have them do it. And we all know how fantastic the federal government does things. And we all know also that the federal government is never corrupt. They never do anything wrong. They don't target conservatives like the IRS allegedly did. They don't do anything like that. They're perfect. But anyway, we know what the reality is. Government sucks and big government is terrible. Smaller state government is better because it's more tailored to your specific area. And that's the way it should be. Federal government is heavy-handed and they do things in a way that does not make sense for the entirety of the nation. They're not good at what they're doing right now. They're just not really good at all. So that's their whole thing. They wanted to leave Texas, to boycott it, and also they try to stop it up. Because if they don't have 2/3 of the House there, then they can't go forward with any vote. They got to just stop. So as of right now, I think the bill has not gone through. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But until they come back, nothing can happen. When they do come back, it's going to happen as far as the vote going through because Democrats do not control Texas. Republicans do. Republicans want this bill to go forward unanimously. Democrats don't. So they all left. They got on a chartered flight with no masks on. And I think they got on 2 flights. These two maskless flights cost $100,000 total. One way, $100,000. I mean, does it cost that much? I've flown from Texas to like Atlanta, DC. It don't cost that much. $150. I mean, for a two-way, $200 max. $100,000. What do you really? What kind of plane is that? Did anybody get any kind of extra kickback in their pocket from that $100,000? I wonder. But I'll move on. So they were on a plane, maskless. Matter of fact, they were on a bus that went to the charter, maskless, and they were on a plane, maskless. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find them on the bus and then on the plane. Okay, so I got the bus picture. And then let me find the plane picture right quick. Okay, is that the same? Yeah, it's the same lady taking the pictures. All right. So let's find that one. All right, cool. Put them on the screen right quick. And there we go. So that's them right there, cheesing real hard on the bus. All right. And then they got the beer right there. Like I said before, let me go over to that section. So they got the beer right there. Gotta have that, because if you're gonna just flee the state and not follow through with your duties as an elected official, you gotta be getting drunk, right? You gotta be getting a little buzz while you're out there on the road, right? And then this is them on the plane. No masks, private charter, everything's all good, right? Now, I was told by the CDC, I'm told different things by different people. The CDC says if you got the vax, then you don't need to wear masks indoor or outdoors. However, if you get on the plane, you got to put a mask on. But that's for you. That's for the normies out there. That's for us normies. When we go on the plane, you got to put a mask on. But when they go on the plane, they can do whatever they want. Private charter, $100,000 is nothing. Now, it was funny when one of these guys, if I can find them, I'll point them out right quick. I think it was my man right here in the upper right-hand corner of the picture. Well, at the top of the picture, because you're on the right-hand side of the screen anyway. But at the top of the picture, my man right there with a nice Dennis the Menace style haircut, right? I think he was on Fox with Pete Hegseth. And Pete was grilling him about this whole situation. Like, why are you not voting? Why aren't you in Texas? What's going on? Do you need an ID to vote? Do you believe in voter ID? And then one thing Pete said was, okay, you guys were on that plane looking real cozy with no mask. And the guy was like, well, if you got the shot, you don't need the mask. I was like, all right, cool. Now, 3 of them have the cooties. They got the bug. 3 of them from this picture and the plane picture. 3 of them got it. So when they went to DC, I guess they tested positive. I would presume before they got on this flight, they all got tested, or maybe they didn't because they could do whatever they want, right? But 3 of them now have it. Now, it's karma, because it's like, all right, you want to talk about how you don't need X, Y, and Z, and it's fine, and we're leaving, and Republicans, they don't believe in science. Well, I mean, we believe in science. We know that the shot is not going to prevent you from getting it, and we also know the mask don't prevent you from getting it. We know that your immune system is pretty good. So you just kind of rolling the dice. Whenever you go outside, you're rolling the dice. It's just life. We know that. So we believe in science. You guys sometimes on the left do not. Anyway, some say it's karma. Some say this was done on purpose, because if they have the bug, then they got to quarantine for like 2 weeks. But it's only 3 of them that have it. Now, here's something else. Are they going to try to quarantine all of them because they were on the same plane with each other? Oh, that's contact tracing. We got to quarantine you because you were in contact with that person. You were on the plane on Instagram taking pictures. You were on the bus taking pictures. So we got to quarantine all you guys. And now you can't go back to Texas and vote. Was it done on purpose? I mean, you know what? I don't want to sit here and say that somebody caught the bug on purpose to prevent from voting. But I mean, I've seen crazier things, right? I saw a video well, not actual video of the incident, but I saw a situation where a lady was complaining about a man who identified as a woman going into the women's part of the spa, swinging and flinging. You understand what I'm saying? So if things like that are going on and it's kind of like normal, I would not be surprised if it was done on purpose so they would not have to go back and vote. But then again, it wouldn't make sense because at a certain point, they got to go back. They can delay it. They can delay it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, but they got to go back home. And when they do go back home, the bill that's going to get passed is going to get passed. When they go back home, if they don't want to report to Austin, they can be arrested. They can't be arrested right now because they're in D.C. The authority of the arresting power, because if you guys don't know, Texas rule states that if you are an elected official and your job is to go vote, if you don't show up, you can be arrested and compelled to show up. Maybe not necessarily vote, but you got to be there. Okay, so, but that power only extends to the state of Texas. It does not extend beyond Texas state lines. So if they come back, when they come back, or they're going to vote, or they're going to be there at least, and the bill will go forward. All they're doing right now is trying to stall it to try and probably raise some money and draw attention to the whole national thing, trying to federalize elections. That's the whole situation. But hey, I am not surprised they caught the cooties. Not at all. This is something I could easily predict. And the weirdest thing I see are these news headlines that say X, Y, and Z caught the bug, although he got double jabbed, he got the vax. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what they said. They said that all that it does is help you deal with the virus when you get it. That's what they say. That's what I was told. I could be wrong. I don't know anything. I'm just reading stuff from reputable news sources. I'm reading what the federales tell me, what the federal government tells me. I'm reading that and I'm repeating it to y'all. So I don't understand why anybody's surprised when this happens. Because, if I didn't mention, the guy that Pete Hegseth was interviewing said that they all had the vaccine before they got on the flight. Oh, we all fully vaccinated. That's why they had no mask on. But obviously it didn't work, or it didn't work that well. But hey, so thank y'all again for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. If you enjoy what you're hearing so far, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Also, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. But yeah, these Texas Democrats are a piece of work, ain't they? They really are. And it's weird seeing people like justify their decision. It's like, if you are an elected official, your job is to vote. That's your job. That's all you got to do. You got one job, to vote, and you don't want to do that because you think that the bill is not right. Well, hey, I mean, that's tough. You're not in control in Texas. That's just what it is. Try and get some Republicans on your side. Try to meet somebody halfway and be bipartisan or something. But if you don't want to do that, then you're just not going to be able to have success. And I hope their constituents vote them out the next time that they're up for re-election, and get somebody in there that knows what they're doing and is going to stay around and actually vote and do their job. How about that? All right. So let's get to some other topics here. Hold on. Let me get to my list. Oh, the White House censorship. We got to get into this right now. White House censorship is crazy. Now, you guys saw Jen Psaki on television with your own two eyes, heard it with your own two ears, say that the White House is communicating with Facebook, and I would assume other social media platforms like YouTube, like Twitter, like everywhere, to flag certain posts and remove certain people. They had a list of people that were the chief quote-unquote offenders on Facebook. And they got the list from this group. I forget what it's called. And I don't want to give them no kind of pub here, but I did an article. You guys can check it out on the website. But the group had a list of 12 people that were the biggest purveyors of misinformation. Now, my question to Jen Psaki and anyone, quite frankly, is what's define misinformation? What is that? What is it really? Can you define it for me in a very succinct way? It's got to be a specific thing, because when you say misinformation, I mean, that's really just, at a certain point, If you don't have it clearly defined, it's whatever you want it to be. It's whatever you think is wrong. It's whatever your misinformation guidelines suggest. And these things, it can't be set in stone, because you're talking about science. If somebody says misinformation is in this post because it denies science, it goes against science, how do you necessarily go against science? That's not really a concrete statement to make, because science is a study, right? Science can change. Science can be proven right. It can be proven wrong. Just like when the WHO was saying that there was no human-to-human contact at the very beginning. That was science, right? So trust the science or no? Obviously that changed. It said, yes, it can pass from human to human. I mean, it's all kind of things. Is it airborne? Is it surface borne? They don't really know. They keep changing things every day because it's a new virus. So when you say misinformation, what does that really mean? Does it mean whatever we think is wrong? Whatever we think should not be out there to the general public? What does that actually mean? And I got flagged, like I told you guys before, I got flagged for a quote unquote medical misinformation post about this video I did back in April about the virus and the vaccine. And I knew something was wrong right then. I knew it wasn't just YouTube by themselves. See, I understand that YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, etc., they engage in their own games that they play. A lot of these woke employees, a lot of these woke people that don't want certain content on the platform, they want to try to downrank it and shadow ban. I understand that part. We all know that. Everybody knows that. They'll tell you that. That's not even something that's up for debate. On my Facebook page, there's a notice that says, we are downranking your content. Your content, you've published false information time and time again. We're downranking your content. Now, what is false that I've published, I'm not really sure, but it's up to them to decide that. They have that discretion. So they tell me that they're downranking my content. That's one thing. That's one level of it. But there's levels to it. It's one thing when Facebook does it. It's one thing when YouTube does it on their own. It's different when the federales come in and say, hey, okay, check it out. Flag that post, delete that person, delete that person. I mean, First Amendment, anybody? This is definitely First Amendment. Now, the way they may be able to get around a direct allegation of First Amendment violation is that there's no law saying that Facebook must do this. There's no specific law in the books that says you cannot post misinformation on Facebook.com. There won't be a legal penalty like, all right, ABL, you're going to jail because you posted something on Facebook that was misleading or something like that. That won't be the case. However, the spirit of the First Amendment is being violated 1,000%. Absolutely. Because if the federal government says, all right, Facebook, here's 12 guys that are posting the most misinformation on your platform, and they shouldn't be there. And as a matter of fact, once they're banned on one platform, they should be banned everywhere, because we think misinformation has no place on social media. And it's whatever they think misinformation is. I mean, they got the 12 people from a private company. How do you know that this private company did not have an axe to grind against one particular person or all 12 people? It could have been a personal thing. Whoever heads up the company might not like Rizza Islam or somebody like that that's on the list. They might not like them and say, okay, we'll put them on this list, and then we'll lobby the federal government to get involved with it. And then they're going to put pressure on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, etc., to get these guys and girls banned off the internet totally. To get them the Alex Jones treatment, no internet access at all on social media, at least. Maybe they have their own website, but that'd be about it. But they can't use any third-party apps like Shopify or WordPress or whatever. They got to have their own website, their own servers, their own developers, and everything, because we won't serve them. Because the federales say, if you do that, it's going to be a problem. And we know how they get down. They targeted conservative people through the IRS. They spied on people with, these fake FISA warrants or whatever. They spied on Trump. They spied on Tucker. We know how they operate. So when the federales say, I need you to do that, there may not be a law requiring it. There may not be a guy in his boots coming to your door saying, hey, get it done right now. But if you don't do it, it's going to be a hard time for you. You know what's coming next. all kind of audits, all kind of, you got to go to Capitol Hill and testify, and all kind of, it's a constant pressure from the federal government on your back. And it's not right. It's not right at all. So when people on the right talk about being shadow banned and being censored, all that kind of stuff, well, we have the evidence from Jen Psaki herself talking about it. And then this has been a really hot button issue. We're talking about the press corps. A lot of reporters are asking her about it over and over again, and she's doubling down like, yeah, we're going to do that because, and then Joe Biden said that people are dying. I'm talking about going to the moon. It's one thing to say these people, their opinion shouldn't be on the platform. That's bad enough. That's terrible. That's a violation right there. But then when the president says they're killing people, it's like, what? So you got the president of the United States talking about social media influencers saying they're killing people, right? Not saying that about the media when they go out there and pump up these Black Lives Matter rallies that have plenty of deaths attached to them. I'm talking about directly attached to the riots, to the so-called rallies that are turning into riots. You have deaths linked to it. Taya Marie Kelly, David Dorn, Sequoia Turner. The list goes on. A lot of black folks too, but Black Lives Matter, right? Oh, but you want to go out there, hype this BLM rally up, get a bunch of black folks killed, get their grocery stores burned down, get their houses burned down, get the neighborhoods torn up, become more dangerous, no police, homicide rate going up 50%, 100%, 800% in Portland, Oregon. But we don't call out that Joe Biden. We call out guys on Twitter with their webcams talking about how they have an opinion about the virus and the vaccine. Funny how that works. And it's weird because the virus and the vaccine has become a partisan issue in the minds of many. And it's also a way for people to spread their own misinformation. It's some misinformation that the government approves of. They approve of it. They approved of it when Trump was in office. Like, as far as the vaccine goes, said, oh, I'm not getting that. That's dangerous. Trump came out with it from the left now. I'm not saying from the right. I'm talking about from the left. When they said that, it was totally fine. Nobody was getting shadow banned. Nobody was getting targeted by the federal government. None of that was going on. But now, people that said the same thing are now saying they're reversing this all good, and nobody says anything about their past. And those that are saying it now, from what they're seeing on the ground, they are persona non grata. They're getting shadow banned. They're getting all these kind of things done to them because the government says so. Whatever the government says goes. No fan of that at all. Not in the least bit. But yeah, the censorship is really serious. And this is why having alternative platforms is essential. Now, when you see the federales start to get into things like your website with no third-party apps, like if I have my own server in my house and I develop my website from code by hand, and then when they come take that from my opinions, see, now we got a serious issue. I mean, what are you doing to my website? Why are you taking my website down? If you don't pressure a third-party company, you take me down directly, now you are in direct violation of First Amendment. That's a direct violation. All I'm doing right here is just giving my thoughts and opinions. Take my website down from the federal government. Like, remember back in the day, they had these file sharing websites and they were getting seized by the government, and then they put up a notice, like an FBI notice. If they do that to private websites, now we got an issue. We got a serious problem. I think that happened to Alex Jones or somebody else. It almost happened because they pressured all the third-party companies. They pressured the ISPs. They pressured the domain registrars. They pressured the hosting companies. They pressured MailChimp. They pressured work. They pressured everybody to the point where, like, even the Apple Store, they took Parler off the Apple Store, and then they made Parler made some quote-unquote changes to get back in the good graces of the Apple Store. So now they're back on the store. I mean, the government has a lot of power, too much power, and they're using it completely inappropriately, 1,000% inappropriately. All right. So, but thank y'all again. And shout out to Aaron the Great. Happy birthday, sir. Enjoy your birthday. You know, how old are you, sir? Aaron Great says it's his birthday. How old are you today? Oh, I saw that. I saw where there was a case of the monkey flu in Texas. Maybe that might have been fake news, but they said that somebody came from Africa and brought the flu with them. They're talking about these variants, and they said that people that don't have the vaccine are the ones spreading the variants. Is there any evidence of that? I'm seeing this quoted a lot. Joe Biden said it's a pandemic of the unvaccinated. Where's the evidence? Where's the data? Where's the statistics? Where's the hardcore physical evidence of this being the case? You know, they talk about one state. I think they said Maryland, 100% of those that died were unvaccinated. Well, that's one state out of 50. And how many actually died in the state? You're saying 100%. I mean, what is that? 10? 20? How many people actually died? And like I said before, how do you know that they were all unvaccinated if you don't have a list of those that got the shot? There's all kind of lists out there, right? Those who are unvaccinated, those who are vaccinated, those who oppose the vaccines, all kind of lists. And we start doing stuff like that, started building lists and databases and whatnot, you know you got a problem. You know you got a serious problem when that goes on. That's kind of how they do in communist countries. They build up lists and they put you on them, you know, and then that is a real serious problem. You guys may have seen the video I did. Well, I didn't do the video, but there was a video that came out about Cuba. And then the girl was talking about how one thing that Castro did when he came in office was take count of everybody's gun, counted all the guns, all the bullets, and then did a mass confiscation. So now the civilians are defenseless against the military. They want to do whatever they want to do. I was reading a lot of stories about Cuba and things that happened under communism. Well, under Castro, like under the Russia days. People were talking about how they'd be sleeping and be 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, they're dragged out of bed at gunpoint by soldiers as they search their apartment for anti-commie propaganda. Okay, and then sometimes in the summer, the children that were older than 8 years old would go off to random farms and work wherever they were placed by the government. Some said that people that were very poor had it better under communism in Cuba. But at the same time, it's like, all right, if I am a broke person, right, I'm struggling, trying to make things happen, and then someone says, hey, you know what? I'll make your life better. I give you 3 hot meals, a bed, security, 24 hours. I give you all that. But you can't leave in this prison. You got to stay in your cell most of the day. And it's going to be a little dangerous if the guards aren't really there. But it's better than where you live right now because you're getting meals and everything. I mean, if someone says to me, all right, you're struggling, you're having a hard time, you want to stay out here or go to the penitentiary, I'm going to stay out here. Because losing my freedom ain't worth maybe getting an extra grain of rice, extra bag of rice. It's not worth that. And that's kind of what it was under communism. It was like living in an open jail, from what I've been able to read. I mean, like under Russia. Nowadays, it's just despair. It's just despair. Food is a problem. Medicine is a problem. And not the bug juice. Not that. I'm talking about basic stuff. Band-Aids, alcohol, peroxide, things like that. Real basic. Inflation is big. It's a problem. It's a serious issue that is going on. People don't know how good they have it over here in America. That's why everybody wants to come here. People want to talk trash about America. They want to say all this, that, and the third, but everyone ultimately wants to be here in the good old US of A. Stars and stripes. Everybody want to be, they could do the dandy, all this, that. That's what they want to be. And that's just big facts. Now, what else we got? Oh, we got to talk about Baltimore public schools. Now, I did this video, and I didn't even realize what they were trying to hide until I finished. Now, I wrote the article about it, and then I read my headline. I'm like, wait a minute. So the original headline I had was 41% of Baltimore students rank below a 1.0. That was the original headline of my video. But I'm like, wait a minute. What's a 1.0? It's a D, right? So if they have below a D, because a 1.0 to a 1.9 is a D. So a 1.0 is a D, 1.1 is a D, 1.8 is a D. What's a 0.9? It's an F. So 41% of Baltimore students are failing failing right now, 41%. What's the graduation rate? Probably abysmal. What's the point in graduating? If 41% of the kids are failing, there's no point in graduating. You might as well just drop out. I mean, if I was doing that poorly in Baltimore at age 16, I might as well just drop out and start working somewhere. I try to go get a job down the harbor, be a waiter or something like that. I mean, if I was doing that poorly. Now, I never did that poorly, but if that was me, I would have to realize, all right, this is not working out for me. I need to do something else. I'm going to go work or try to do something. But then again, if you have a low GPA like that, you're not even trying. The thing about Baltimore is that you can achieve success without that much effort because the education is so poor. How hard is it to ace tests? If you fail, you're just not going to school. You're just refusing to attend. All you got to do to get at least like a 3.0 is show up. Show up to class. You could probably cheat in there. It wouldn't even be no big deal. You could show out somebody else's paper. You could go on your phone, look up the answers. I mean, the education is so poor, it doesn't even matter. The valedictorian, being a valedictorian in Baltimore is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. If half of your class is failing and you the valedictorian, at a certain point, they're going to dumb the coursework down for everyone else to have a chance if half the class are failing. So if you become the valedictorian, it's irrelevant. I told a story before about one of you guys that sent me a comment on one of these videos saying, okay, I'm at a community college, I work there, and a young girl came in to take a placement test to see where she ranked. She wanted to, get some classes and enroll in the community college. She takes the placement test and everything is remedial. She could barely read, basically. That's what the test says. And the grandma called the school and she was like, well, I'm confused. I don't understand what this is happening. My grandbaby was a valedictorian at her high school. So you go from being a valedictorian at your high school to you cannot read at a community college. I mean, that is what's happening right now. So like I said, if I'm 15, 16, I'm failing, there's no point in continuing. Might as well drop out. And they talk about, we got to just throw money at it. It's like Baltimore is the third most well-funded school district in the United States. The third most well-funded, not just in Maryland, but in the entirety of the USA. So what's the money going to do? Get the English department head a new Benz, get Miss Johnson, the guidance counselor, a new house. She can put something on the back of her house, get a new addition, screening the sunroom in the back, screening the patio. That's all going to happen. It won't impact the kids. Like I said in my video, the main things going on with these kids are the parents. Parents don't care. No dads at all. The mom's barely there. The mom's trying to still be clubbing. The mom ain't nothing but 16 herself. Not 16, but if you're in high school, probably like, you got grandmas that's in their 30s in these kind of environments. The grandma is still trying to go out to the club, still trying to catch her a baller. She's still going on the Shade Room and Baller Alert, trying to look at what's happening with Cardi B and all these Nicki Minaj and everybody. That's what grandma's doing. Meanwhile, the kids going to school, can't read. He can dance and play football, basketball, but he can't read it all. So, but it all starts with the parents. The parents don't care at all. The kids ain't going to care because the parents don't care. So when you have a bunch of these kids going to the school, fighting, cussing, carrying on, not caring, what can the teachers do? Who wants to be a good teacher being in this kind of environment? Nobody. So they get poor teachers, bad kids, bad parents. It's failure. That's all. Ain't nothing but failure. And the funniest thing I see is people talk about, they need more black teachers. Have you been to a school in the hood? Have you been to Baltimore? Have you seen the school? And it's all black teachers. Me as a kid, I moved around a little bit in my city. I went to like 8 schools, I think, altogether. 7 or 8. I don't know how many. It was a few schools I went to. I think 3 elementary, 2 middle, 2 high. So yeah, about 7 schools. And each new school I went to, each new class I went to, my thought process was, okay, do I have a good teacher or a bad teacher? That's it. I didn't care about their black, white, Puerto Rican candy stripe. I don't really care about that. Are you good or not? That's all. Is it a good school or not? I know we had a conversation when I was a kid. Well, we talk as kids among each other, saying, I want to go over there. They got good teachers. It was an active conversation. We wanted to go to a better part of town to go to a better school. That's what kids were talking about back then. Some kids don't really care because they ignorant, but a lot of us cared about that. If we had parents that cared about it, but kids nowadays, and back then to a certain extent, the parents don't care. Parents do not care. I saw that one video with the boy that had a 0.13 GPA, and the mom's all shocked. Oh no, what am I going to do? It's like, come on, lady. This boy is 18 and you don't know what's going on. That's your fault. You got a whole adult in here and you don't know what's happening. You just been oblivious to his grades and what's going on. What are we going to do? Stop, because you don't care. But I'm getting triggered, so I digress. The point is that the parents are the problem. That's really the long and short of it. That's why Baltimore is the way it is because of the people that live there, period. The politics and all of that, that's fine. But see, if the people were better, then the politics would be better. The politics can't fix somebody that can't read. You can elect whoever you want to elect to be the mayor, the governor, or whatever, but that's not going to teach little Jermaine 1 + 1. That's just a fact. But I digress. And the NAACP, I gave the NAACP credit out here in Tennessee because they had stopped testing. Like back when the virus first popped or shortly thereafter, they were going to go door to door in the ghetto, right? And they were going to send a National Guard to the ghetto in full uniform and try and get people to get tested. Door to door. Hey, have you gotten the test yet? They're going to have a full uniform. So NAACP was like, look, that's too much. That's going to be kind of intimidating if you come up to the door in full uniform talking about, do you want to get a test for the virus? So they were able to get that halted. So there's no testing, none of that from the National Guard going door to door in the hood. What they did instead was set up little remote sites. So if you want to get the test, not the shot yet, if you want to get a test, go ahead and do it. It's right there, close to where you live. We won't come to your door and knock and ask, right? So I was like, yeah, right on for that. Fantastic. However, this lady in Virginia from the NAACP out there, I think it's in Fairfax, NAACP, which is like Northern Virginia, the DC area. You are a stone's throw from the capital. So a lot of DC people, a lot of government people, contractors, consultants, they live right here in Fairfax County. Very, very rich area, probably richest area in the country. Even beyond the tech giants, because what makes more cash than big tech? Big government. It might be kind of like neck and neck, really. I see some of these charts talking about different countries in the world, how much their governments have and whatnot. You should do a split between how much money does big tech and big government have. How much federal money is there versus big tech money? But anyway, so this lady in Fairfax County went on the whole big tirade talking about people that oppose CRT because there was a protest against CRT in Fairfax. And shout out to everybody out there. Shout out to Fairfax and Loudoun County up there in Northern Virginia fighting against critical race theory. It's up to you. Like I said in my video, the people that want to implement CRT are people. They're just people. You are as well. They're kind of like normies, just like we're normies. So rather than saying, you know what, this is not right, we can go out there and do something to stop it. We can get on the school board. We can make things happen. It's going to be a long fight. It ain't going to be easy because you up there in Fairfax, very liberal dominated, but something's got to give. But anyway, the lady was up there speaking against parents that want to oppose CRT. So she was on the side of CRT talking about if you oppose it or if they oppose it, then let them die. Let them die? Really? Like I said in the video, that reminds me of Oprah when she said it. Remember that whole thing talking about, oh, you're racist, meemaw, and whatnot. They gotta die because we can't fix them, that type of thing. Now, my thing is, who do you define as racist? Who do you define as someone that should die? Is it me? Because of my views, is it me? Who are we talking about here? You see what I'm saying? Like, when you say something like that, it's pretty dangerous. You, Miss NAACP lady, might not go out there and do it, but someone may hear that and then take arms. So you're saying very dangerous things. And the crazy part about the whole thing was the roaring of applause afterward from all the parents that were out there. Now, there were some out there who were against it, but a lot of them were for it. Roaring applause, cheering for what she said. So you know it's going to be an uphill battle out there in Northern Virginia. But you know the funny part is that she was talking about people that are against CRT. They're anti-everything. They're anti-diversity, anti-LGBT, anti-admissions, anti-everything, right? This is why CRT is a really big issue, because it's part of a greater issue. It's part of the leftist agenda in total. The lady said every single thing that is under that umbrella. Matter of fact, can I find it right quick? Let me see if I can. If I can't, then it is what it is. You guys already kind of seen it. But she was really going in on all the different things. Matter of fact, here it is. Let's play it right quick so you can kind of get a little bit of context if you've not seen it already. And I'll place it on the screen before you. Let's get a little bit of sound. And let's go ahead and get her done.
So let's meet and remain steadfast in speaking truth, tearing down double standards, and refuting double talk. Let's not allow any double downing on lies. Let's prepare our children for a world they deserve. Let's deny this off-key band of people that are anti-education, anti-teacher, anti-equity, anti-history, anti-racial reckoning, anti-opportunities, anti-help people, anti-diversity, anti-platform, anti-science, anti-change agent, anti-social justice, anti-healthcare, anti-worker, anti-LGBTQ+, anti-children, anti-healthcare, anti-worker, anti-environment, anti-emissions policy change, anti-inclusion, anti-live and let live people. Let them die. Don't let these uncomfortable people deter us from our bold march forward. Thank you.
The applause afterwards was crazy. The roaring of applause. Now, not everyone there was in favor of what she was saying. There are some you don't see that were not applauding, but a lot of them were. These are just regular normies out there saying, yeah, we support you. So this is a serious issue. But, you know, the crazy part before I go further is that I was told that CRT was not taught in schools in K through 12. I thought it was only a law school thing, and regular normies were not really worried about it. It wasn't actually a thing. That's what Mark Lamont Hill said on television, and a bunch of other guys. I think John Leguizamo was reading the script on Twitter talking about, oh, it's legal thinky tank talk and all this and that. Oh, okay, that's what you say. But here we have a lady talking about if they don't want it to be taught, then they should die. And roaring of applause. So obviously it is being taught to K through 12 kids right now. There's a fight to end it. People like John Leguizamo and Mark Lamont Hill kind of want to gaslight you to prevent you from doing anything because they say it doesn't even exist. But who am I going to believe, you or my own lying eyes? What's really happening? But anyway, one thing she said there was people are anti-admission standards changing. Now, there's a school out there called Thomas Jefferson. It's probably going to change soon because of slavery. But anyway, so this is a high school. It's a magnet school. You have to apply to go there. It's public, but it's a magnet. So, you know, you got to apply. You got to have good standardized test scores. And you got to pay to apply. Now, recently, they dropped and/or eliminated their testing standards and also the admission fees. And they say the reason why they did this is because they want more people of color going to the school. But the funny part is that this school is 21% white and 71% Asian. So I mean, do Asians not count as people of color? Do they not count? It's 21% white. What more do you want? 70% Asian. It's only like 2% black or 2% Hispanic. When they say people of color, in this context, they're referring to the blacks and the Hispanics, not the Asians. Although Asia, they're not white. They're people of color. And some brainiac somewhere, I know without fail, is going to say, well, the Chinese look pretty light-skinned to me. You think Chinese are white? Let's stop the games. Japanese, Korean, anyway, even if some smooth brain is going to sit there and tell me that people that are Chinese, Han Chinese are white people, which is the stupidest. Even if somebody says that, okay, how about the Indian subcontinent? They're Asian too. There's plenty of them that are probably at their school. Got my same skin tone. So is a person from the Indian subcontinent, are they white? I mean, if they are darker than I am and I'm not white, how are they white? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So there is, quote unquote, diversity there, which means non-white, but it's the wrong kind of non-white. They want more blacks and Hispanics. But the truth is that Asians, we're talking about Indians, Chinese, etc., they work super hard. They go super hard on their academics, very hard. Hours a night studying, hours. Well, I read, shout out to my man Sub-Zero, a fellow YouTuber. He was saying that Asians, it could be like an hour or two a night studying. That's what they spend on average. But blacks, 20 minutes. How are you going to be better than an Asian person who spends hours a night studying when you spend 20 minutes, if that? When you got Baltimore, where kids don't even go to school. When they get to be 5 years old and can't do anything at all, can't even read their own name, can't tie their shoes or nothing, what you going to do with that? I'm just trying to I'm having a hard time figuring it out. So yeah, this whole thing, the CRT thing is much deeper than just, trying to say everything's racist. It's a deeper thing. It goes down to the core of everything. They want to change the culture of America, in my opinion. They want to change it from being kind of you got left and right. They want to change that to everybody's one way. Sounds kind of like communism to me, but maybe I'm wrong about that. You guys let me know in the comments. You guys let me know in the comments below. All right. But thank y'all again for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. We got super chats on deck, and then I'm going to get to the calls. Did I get to everything I wanted to get to? Yeah, I got to Caitlyn Jenner. I also got to misinformation, the Runaway Democrats. I got to all of that. All right. Super chats on deck. I'm going to read those right quick, and then I'm going to get straight to the calls. Shout out to Kathy for the donation. I appreciate you, Kathy. Thank you. Big ballin'. And let me go over here to get to the other ones so I can read them off for you guys. And let's go over here. Well, I'm in the wrong spot. I'm messing up. Okay, here we go. There we go. So shout out to Apple for a few super chats here. He says, R.I.P. Miles Thompson, murdered in Chicago a day before his 18th birthday. Miles had a full ride football scholarship to St. Ambrose University. Prayers and condolences to his family. Where is BLM? Miles' life matters. Yeah, R.I.P. Rest in peace to Miles. I also saw a football mom was taking her son to Naval Academy. He was going to play football there, or I'm going to play football or what? I don't know. But anyway, she was taking her son there to Naval Academy, and then I think she got shot as she was leaving and killed. I mean, that seems to not get any kind of coverage, but as soon as somebody stubs their toe around an officer, then you got, thousands upon thousands of people rioting all over the place. It's crazy. And then CNN's going to be right there with their cameras all up in your face trying to incite it, trying to spark it up more to get more coverage. If it bleeds, it leads. Shout out to Apple, who also says, prayers for MAGA patriots unjustly jailed before trials. Thank you to Joel for your donation with a thumbs up. 2 thumbs up. I appreciate you. We got a few from Apple. Apple also says Cornel West quits Harvard. Opinion on that, ABL? Cornel West quitting Harvard is funny because the timing is interesting. Didn't you just have the lady resign from UNC, Nicole Hannah-Jones, not critical race theory, 1619 Project lady? She just quit because she could not get tenure. And then you have Cornel West quitting. Now, did Cornel West go to somewhere else? Did he go to HBCU? Okay. So they're not saying if he went somewhere else. But yeah, I mean, you want to talk about how bad Harvard is, but you were there for how many years? Cornell, you worked there. You didn't mind cashing your paycheck, but now you want to talk about how bad they are in your letter leaving the whole operation. It's dumb. Also, opinion on Texas Democrats Twitter leopard undies. I did not see that. I don't know what's going on with that at all. Also, how about a UK Rainbow Monkey t-shirt from Hertz? I think not. I saw the Rainbow Monkey thing in UK. Drag Queen story time. I feel like the guy was making the point. I don't know. I mean, if that was a real thing, but actually had kids right there in front of that man wearing a rainbow monkey, and I can't even show it. It's so vulgar, I can't even show it because you got little kids watching. I don't want to expose them to that. But if you want to look it up for yourself, Rainbow Monkey suit UK, be warned, it's not safe for work. Don't be in your conference call or meeting or whatever and pull that up. You're going to get fired immediately. You understand? But I digress. Also, BLM supports Cuban communist dictatorship. They sure do. BLM shut down Boston LGBT LMNP Pride Parade. Friendly reminder to FBI, CIA, NSA, deep state agents, you will face the just judge Jesus Christ on Judgment Day. Stop your betrayal of America. Repent. Also, Keys and Locke says Newsom signed SB 152 requiring the 2021 gubernatorial recall election be held as a regular election. Wow. So how does that really work? I mean, how does it? So the election to recall him, I don't know how that really. So is that going to be as far as who they're going to bring in to replace him? That's strange. But anyway, and shout out to my man Jericho Green for coming in. Thank you, sir. He says the only privilege is green privilege. Hashtag bruised gender. Hilarious. Bruised gender is funny. Shout out to my man Jericho Green for that one. If you guys are not sold to him already, go ahead and do that. Jericho Green. Thank you, Just Incredible, who says, my 5-year-old grandson thinks he's Spider-Man. That doesn't mean I'm taking him to the doctor to be Spider-Man. Exactly. Same thing here. I was a turtle, a spider, an X-Man. That was everything. Michelangelo had the nunchucks, barefoot, shell on my back. I was a turtle when I was about 5 years old. But guess what? I'm not a turtle right now. I became an actual human adult male. That's what I became. They get to makeshift electric for the emoji donation. They get to Shonda Tony, who says 3 of the Democrats from Texas caught COVID-19 due to quarantine. Time to quarantine, exactly. Thank you to Jess, who says, thanks for the limited edition USA hat ABL. Appreciate it. Thank you for that. Appreciate you. You can get yours as well on ablmerch.com. Anybody out there listening? He continues. This whole Democrats running into Biden to skip doing their job is a joke. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And my thing is, who's paying for it? Like I said, those 2 chartered flights, $100,000. 100,000 smackaroos. So who's paying for that? Who's paying for the hotels or the Airbnbs or whatever? It's not them. How much is being a House rep? How much is being a Texas state rep pay? Nothing. So how are you able to go out there and live high on a hog like that? But I'll move on. Let me see. Thank you to Tyrannius, who says, funny how all these awkward shows are tanking in sports, but I thought Slow Biden was the most popular corpse in American history. Exactly. Thank you to One Suit Senpai, who says, you have any opinions on Sticks anomaly debate? Have they debated already? I've not seen it, so I don't know anything about it. But if they have debated, I like to watch it. But I can tell you right now, Sticks is probably one of the smartest guys on YouTube. I don't agree with all this, everything he says, obviously, but he's a smart guy. And Anomaly is more of a free spirit type dude, kind of a smart guy too, but he's more just kind of free and not really anchored on his principles, in my opinion. So I think Sticks would do better in that debate than him. But it'd be a good debate regardless, because they both are able to hold their own in a conversation, in a debate. So, yeah, shout out to them. But Sticks got that 100%. But I've not seen it yet. If it already happened, I'm going to go check it out as soon as I can. Thank you to Donna, who says, what's your thoughts on Freedom Phone, no Google, promoted by Miss Candace? I don't know anything about it. I have to, use it, check it out, see a review on it. Like with any new kind of tech, I think what they're doing is you can get a SIM card and put it into any kind of Android phone and use it that way. I don't know how well it works. I like to see more about it. But it's interesting. I mean, I don't know how it's really going to solve any kind of censorship problem, because at the end of the day, you still need to be using the major platforms to communicate. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, etc. You still got to use it. I mean, you can use alternative media, but in my opinion, it's like putting your message into a shoebox. And they also want you to be over there because they're easily able to silence you without silencing you. If they were able to convince all the conservative influencers to get off of YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and let them dominate it, then they would dominate the discourse. Whatever we're saying on these alternative platforms will not get much light of day. For those that have already kind of subscribed to what we believe in, we see it, but the average normie who's not really political like that would not see it. So they'd be able to dominate all communication, and you don't want that. You want to have dissenting voices on the most popular platforms to combat their misinformation, because if they don't have voice, there's no checks. They can just say whatever they want, do whatever they want, and get away with it. All right. Let me see. Shout out to Georgia Peach, who says, the lieutenant of my local police department in Dalton just lost his little 5-year-old son. We are confused why they are allowing immigrant kids in that are not vaccinated. Wow. Whoa, that's crazy. I haven't heard about that. I need to look into it. Thank you, Chevy, for your donation, and thank you to Kathy for your donation as well. All right, so I think that's everybody right there for now, and we're going to get back to the thing. And shout out to Randall, who says, I agree 110%. Your friend from Ohio. Thank you, Randall. I appreciate you. 1,000. All right. And I think that'd be all for Super Chats. Let's get to, okay, hold on. I'm seeing something right here. It says, Sticks won the debate, hands down. Anomaly was a disappointment. He made a lot of ad hominem attacks towards Sticks and his followers. Yeah, I figured he'd do that. Yeah, because Sticks is a very smart person. Very, very smart. I watch him. I'm subscribed to him. Very smart. He was able to articulate himself so effortlessly. Just effortlessly, because he has the information in his mind and he's able to access it quickly. You know, and he understands the information. See, it's one thing to read. It's different to have reading comprehension and retention and really be able to, you know, think critically, think in abstract. Sticks can do that. Anomaly is more of a guy that it's kind of like he'll present things that normies may not necessarily know about in a good way. He's a good presenter. He has good content from what he does. When you're talking about having a debate, that's a different ball of wax. You got to be able to you need different skills for that. I'm gonna check it out though and see what's going on with it. All right. So, we got calls on that, of course. We got the calls. I almost forgot. How can I forget? The number to call, thank you, Charles Turner. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Do not be afraid to call. If you're having a hard time getting in, hey, don't blame me, blame the white man. Keep on trying, and you should be able to get on at a certain point in time. You know, so just keep on keeping on, and I will get to you. There's also a Skype email in the description box below. You can be right here in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen talking about whatever's going on. You could do it that way. Yeah, I saw Black Rifle Coffee. Black Rifle was kind of confused. I'm not really sure what's going on with them because I feel like they did an interview and it may have been misquoted. So I want to see them respond, like on their official Twitter page. If what I read in that interview is how they feel, then we got a problem with Black Rifle Coffee. But if they come out on Twitter and say, oh, that's not what we said, they kind of mischaracterized it. Either way, even if they mischaracterized it, what they were quoted as saying directly is bad. And the thing about New York Times or whatever that piece ran on, they can't necessarily say a thing you didn't say. They got to say what you said. They can edit, maybe chop some things, but they can't print words you didn't say. So they got some explaining to do. I want to hear from them and see what they say about it. So Black Rifle Coffee, what they did was they had an interview with New York Times, if I'm not mistaken. And in that interview, they were talking about how the Cal Rittenhouse drama cost them a lot of customers, and they don't want the Proud Boys or anybody that's like the Proud Boys, any kind of racist stuff in their midst, because this, you know, if he could just ban them all from their customer base, they do it. That's what I read. But again, I want to hear from them if what they said right there is 100% accurate or if there's more context to it. You know, that's all I want to hear. But either way, it sounds bad. All right, let's get to the first call here. All right, call you on the line. Who am I speaking to? Hello, hello.
Oh, this is James from Texas.
All righty, man. What's going on?
How I feel about those Democrats is I actually just took that picture and just put on snakes on a plane, text over there, and one of our crew over here would have photoshopped in the yellow snake eyes and forked tongues on there. It was beautiful.
It fits perfectly, doesn't it?
Yes. And I saw Ock Nation did a expose on that Navy mom, and they actually caught the guy that did it. And of course, he was a felon that cut off the wrist, the ankle bracelet.
Of course. I mean, and this is why, things like having no bail and all this and that and the third is dangerous, because we've seen it time and time again. These guys get out too soon, too early, and then they go out and commit more crimes.
Yeah, I saw your video that you did with the doctor that was proposing alternative treatments. I won't say anything to get you in trouble here, but I think it's really stupid what they do, because in a pandemic, you're trying to communicate, you're trying to find different things, and they're suppressing the information. So one doctor may find a treatment that works and may save lives, but they suppress it because, it might disrupt their narrative.
Right, of course. And then it's kind of like China, because China, you can't say certain things in China because the state narrative is the only narrative that's permissible. If you go against the state, then you're like unpersoned, you get in trouble. It's the same thing going on here. So you see any kind of shades of communism start to spring up. You don't want that in this nation.
Now, I have one more thing. Did you notice that Jen Psaki, during the interview that she was giving, talking about getting censorship, actually said, yes, we're working with these companies to make sure things that go against the narrative are not spread wide and far. I thought that was wild.
I did not hear that specifically, but I'm not surprised. I mean, she just took the mask off and was honest. I mean, it was unfortunate what she said, but at least she was just being straight up rather than lying as usual.
Yeah, I can't believe they let her say that, how dumb that was. I'm going to sign off with "Let the Salt Flow."
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate it. All right. Shout out to you for the call. Thank you. Thank you for the tea. Appreciate that. And we got some more calls here. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Yeah, I didn't even hear that part about the whole thing of the narrative. I mean, like I said, being honest, being 100% honest, that's exactly, it's a narrative they're trying to spin. I wish they wouldn't try to push this particular thing as a narrative, but that's what they're doing. And nobody can deny that at all. Not in the least bit. 765, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, it's Tommy W. I was just wondering if you started anything on like Rumble or anything else.
I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Can you hear me?
Sort of. What's going on again?
Are you going to start any other channels on maybe alt tech or anything?
I have a BitChute account, and the BitChute account should be in the description box. There should be a link down there for that. I think I'm gonna keep that one, but it's hard to do other ones because it's take a lot of time to do it. I may do a Rumble, but I just need to find some more time to upload there.
Well, a lot of crazy changes have started to happen, basically, and not just the last year, but I mean, it just seems like this is moving towards the way that censorship is, like in China and stuff, and that if you don't tell their narrative instead of the real one or your own version of things, you're just going to end up disappeared from the internet. And as it gets further and further, if you're not on alt tech, soon you're going to have no voice at all. I don't want that to happen, you know?
Oh yeah, no, I'll still be around. I'm everywhere. Like I put my videos everywhere. My videos are on all the major platforms, and I'm also on alternative media, and I have my website. So they're gonna have a hard time trying to eliminate me from the internet. It's not gonna be a walk in the park. I'll tell you that much.
Well, maybe not eliminate, but I mean, like, for example, they kicked off Stephen Molyneux from YouTube, and pretty soon, I mean, his memberships, all his accounts, everything, all his views and everything, his messages that he was trying to put out there really decreased in terms of impact. And it just seems like they're not going to stop with this. They're just going to keep on going and going. And now they're talking about states separating into regions and civil wars and stuff. Do you think there's going to be a civil war?
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think that we're at that level yet. You know, it's not that bad. It has to get to the point where people can't eat food anymore. And people can eat their food. They got their Pizza Hut. They got their Netflix. They're straight. But when you start to have serious problems like food shortages, people are actually hungry and they can't eat, then you have an uprising. That's how these things happen across the world. That's how you had people like Castro come into power, because before that, it was rough. That's how Hitler got in there, because it was rough. It was reasons. People got very desperate. That's why you had a revolution or a war or something like that. That won't be the case here.
But I mean, just look at last year. All it took was that one video of people panicking for toilet paper in China, and then it happened here in the U.S. And then it took one guy kneeling on someone's neck when he really shouldn't have, and there was months of burning down cities and stuff. And only the people who've defended themselves mostly have been prosecuted. I mean, all it takes is one major event, and it's like, oh God, not again. Yeah,
but see, that's not a war, because you're talking about people that are burning up stuff with no opposition. Antifa, BLM, they're just out there doing it with nobody fighting them. No police out there trying to stop it for the most part. Nobody out there trying to be resistant. They're just out there doing it, and there's no resistance. We're talking about a war. That's like two sides fighting. We're not having that. What we're having is just people that are just doing dumb things for dumb reasons, but we're not desperate to the point of a war yet, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, but I think that people have gotten so tired of having cities burnt down and stuff that perhaps the next time this happens, there will be the other side fighting back.
I'll tell you what. Now, if there was anybody fighting back, then it wouldn't be a war. The other side would just back down, because they don't really want to fight for real, in my opinion. We're not there yet, in my opinion. But thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we're not at the point of having any kind of war. Like I said, it's not gotten desperate. When people get desperate, when things really get topsy-turvy, then there's a problem. But we've not reached that point yet, in my opinion. Let's go to the next call. 513 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, my name's Shelley.
All righty. What's going on?
Well, I agree and disagree when it comes to parents and children and the school system. Parents who do stand up, I mean, they retaliate big time. I live in the city, and we had a poll on one of the mom groups, mostly black women, And the question was, what's the most important thing to you when it comes to school? You know what they picked? Diversity.
Wow.
That's what was the most important thing. And this is when the schools were completely shut down to 85% Black is the population. Juvenile crime has continues to skyrocket. And I mean, I'm stuck between blaming the parents and having to compete with the school.
I mean, the poll right there tells you the problem. It's the parents that are the issue because they don't even understand what's going on. Now, here's the question. Now, as far as that poll, what were the other choices on the list? You had diversity, and then what else? What were the other choices?
No, it was like write it in.
Oh, okay. So they all just kind of happened to write down diversity. That was the main thing they put.
Right, but these are also mostly Black women, like 99% Black women. I mean, you know, they don't really allow white people in there, but that's only part of the culture in the city. Like, that's not the entire city.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but see, the poll tells you a lot about that particular part of the city and their mind state. Because the most important thing talking about school is the education, reading, writing, arithmetic. That's the most important thing. Diversity, all that kind of stuff. That's you know, the race, that's not important at all. I don't care who my teacher is. They could be a space alien from Mars. Can you teach me this coursework? Can you teach me what 1 + 1 is? That's all that really matters. So
well, it seems like these inner city schools, especially, it's like they're pumping out criminals. They're creating criminals.
Yeah, because nobody cares. The parents don't care. The parents don't care about education. They care about race. They're not worried about education.
Right. That's those parents. But then when you have the parents that do care, the ones that do care and get involved and do speak up, my son's mixed. His father is an immigrant, and he's in 2nd grade. And I had to have a talk with the school. Like, if you have a question about his culture, you call me about it. Even at the hospital, I got mad seeing an immigrant and asking for like their doctor that matches their ethnicity. And then we have little groups for Black people. And then they want to call me and give me a lecture about being a racist. So I don't know.
See, but no, also, if you care and you're in an environment where a lot of the parents don't care and the kids don't care, it can be hard to really succeed. Because
exactly
the majority of those that are going to be catered to basically are people that don't care. So if you caught up in that, it's like you're just in the wrong place, unfortunately. And that's kind of how it goes. And that's why the parents are the problem, because even if you have some good parents, they're overwhelmed by the bad parents and the bad kids.
Well, they leave. I mean, you have a city that's 48% Black and 48% white, but the school district is 85% Black.
Right.
There's white kids here, but they don't send them there because, I mean, you walk in the building and you hear adults not even using correct English. So if you're at home teaching, you know, you don't say mines, and then your kid goes to school, and it's not even just the kids, it's the teachers too. So, I mean, everyone can't homeschool. And I just think if we say homeschool is the solution, we're not going to solve the problem of these inner city schools pumping out criminals.
Well, I mean,
tell them they're too good to flip burgers. Every white kid in the suburb, you know, goes to college for free, and they feed them all these lies, and they have no idea because they don't ever leave.
Yeah, I understand, but see, that's a bad situation to be in. I understand. Now everybody can homeschool. Private school might not be an option. Charter school might not be an option. Sometimes moving is the best option, but that's not always an option either. The best way to stop this is to prevent it from happening. And like I said all the time, that welfare state is part of the reason why this exists. People think that there's no need for a 2-parent household. There's no need to actually do anything for the kids. If school if you had to pay for school, actually, even a little bit of money, there was no welfare state. If you had more marriages and you have less of these parents that don't care about their kids or themselves, you would have fewer people that behave that way. And that's the only way to really get beyond this, because if they're there, they don't care about themselves or their kids, you're going to have a bad environment as a result. And a bad environment is going to produce bad people.
Yeah, and they're untouchable. I mean, they're untouchable. You say anything, it's racist. You know, like they get away with so much here in the city, and when they leave the city and face the real world, they think it's racist. Like
Yeah.
in the city, we let them swim in the pool without the right attire because, you know, rules are racist. They leave the city and then they get in trouble and they get kicked out and blah, blah, blah. And then they claim racism when they leave. And it's like you try to, you know, warn people, you know, these kids are competing with all of the kids around here, you know, for jobs, all of it.
That's right.
And all they can do is, and then the judges, like, I know I want to say, when you were talking about dropping out, absolutely. We have to put some blame on these parents that are sending their kids into these schools, knowing they're not learning anything, when they could get their GED, not be glued to their government tablet, and go get a job. There's no way. Can you imagine if you were a teenager right now, would you stay in high school and follow their rules that you got to be at home on the computer every day at 1?
Nah, it wouldn't make any sense, you know. But you know, then again, it all depends on. It depends on the situation. Like if I'm going to a good school, and I know that I can go back and can continue after this brief period of lockdown, then okay. If it's like for a short period of time, but if they're going to say, okay, from here on out, virtual learning, there's no point because I'm not getting a proper education. I'll go, you know, try to become a tradesman or something like that at an early age, try to work, do something with myself. I wouldn't just stay here wasting time that I could be using to gain skills and get into the workforce.
Yep. That's what we need to do is make people prepared for the workforce maybe and not college, and quit telling everybody all white people go to college for free because they believe it. They believe it. And then they find out it's not true.
Right, right.
So, but love your show, love your work, and hopefully the silent majority will rise, I guess.
Well, I believe we will. Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Appreciate you too. Thank you so much.
That was a great call. You know, a lot of these kids are going to school. If you are not learning anything, like I said, if you're in a place like Baltimore, what's the point in going? Why? I mean, if you are a kid that's like failing, you're not doing well, what are we really doing? Figure out a different way to go about it. I'm not really sure how much your high school diploma makes a difference. You know, I've seen kids that drop out, get a GED, and then go to college at like 16 and perform better than they did in their high school. I've seen that happen. You got to just evaluate what's the best decision because, you know, the status quo is just go to school, K through 12, graduate, go to college, blah, 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 you know, 9 to 5. But things are changing and it's not that way anymore. It's simply not that way. Never in my life, I've never been asked in my life, I'll be 37 this year. Never have I been asked about my high school degree or my college degree. And I got a college degree. I have an associate's degree. And I have some 4-year college, and I have a high school degree, but I've never been asked about it, ever. Can you do the work? Can you get it done? That's really what I get asked about. Now, if you're trying to be somebody advanced, if you're trying to be a doctor or something like that, and you're going to a school where the kids can't read, the teachers can't read, you know, the teacher can't even spell. They're spelling they're the exact same. They're saying mines, all this and that. If that's going on, you got to figure out something else. You got to figure out a different way to approach it. All right, let's get to the next one. And thank y'all again for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. 416 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, it's Cigar Box. How you doing, Anthony?
I'm well. About yourself?
You know, just going along, doing my thing. You were talking earlier about having your BitChute account and that, right?
Yes.
Okay, I got, I know, I told you before, I got an account called Zoot Java where I shoot my mouth off. And it's identical to my, it's a YouTube account and a BitChute account. And both of them are identical. They have the exact same stuff on them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm a nobody, so, but my numbers really reflect something here. I got 3,391 views in total on YouTube and 10,256 on BitChute, which really shouldn't be because YouTube is so huge, right? So it shows what they're doing. They're just burying anybody who's a conservative.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Yeah, because it shouldn't be that way. There's much more traffic on YouTube. YouTube's one of the biggest websites in the world, one of the most visited, aside from Google. It's like number 2 or 3. Google, Facebook, YouTube, top 3. So yeah, it's definitely obvious that they're trying to suppress certain stuff. Same thing on my end. I get certain things suppressed on YouTube. It's not higher on BitChute, but it's most certainly suppressed here for sure.
So it just goes to show, like, if like I'm nobody and the numbers are like that's much different. That how much would be for everybody else like yourself? I mean, like when you get nailed, like they're really nailing you hard.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So I was looking into something about the voting because they're screaming about the voting laws and they don't want to have ID and stuff like that. But for that recall election for Gavin Newsom, what you're supposed to do is you have to have a certain amount of signatures, and it's a percentage, and it's from registered voters. Like, why do they have to be registered voters? If they care so much about just letting people wander across the border and basically vote, which seems to be what they want, which is why they don't want the Cubans across, because they know that that's not going to be votes for them. But they needed 1 million, 1.5 million signatures, and they got more than that. It's supposed to be like 12% of the votes from the previous election, I think, something like that. So, but why? Why do they have to be registered voters? Why do you have to have your signatures affirmed?
Hey, because sometimes they want to have election integrity, and sometimes it's not really important.
Oh, I see. So, if Newsom was actually a Republican, they might say no dice on that.
Maybe so. I have no idea, but I mean, we could put 2 and 2 together and figure out the answer.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just wanted to get that across. Anyway, thanks a lot. I'll talk to you later. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
All right. Great call. Yeah. It's funny how that works, ain't it? It's funny how when you have a Democrat in there and they don't want to leave, all of a sudden the rules change. All of a sudden they flip the script on you. And I had a cool kid say they flipped the script. I might be a little old with that, but anyway, that's what they do. And we know how they operate by now. 512, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Have to have a certain amount of signatures and percentage.
512, hello.
Registered voters.
All right, 512 was not ready. Whenever you call into the show, be prepared to talk to me on the phone. If you're trying to link it up to the show and talk to me it's just not going to work. There's a delay. Just be on the phone ready to answer the call when you call in. All right. And again, the number to call 434-658-1220. There's also an email in the description box for Skype, so you could be right here in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, or just call in through Skype with your audio only, whatever you want to do. Let's get to the next one. 718, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Robert from New York. How you doing, Mr. Logan?
I'm well. About yourself?
I'm doing well, man. I'm starting a career in New York City. Well, it's a good and bad thing, but it's a sanitation job in New York City. I'm a little fearful because I'm gonna be stuck here for like 20 years. But
so I mean, why are you gonna why are you gonna be stuck there for so long?
Well, you have a set time. So for the city, it's like 22, 25 years retirement, and you make good money. So it's like nobody really retires in that time frame.
Okay, so you kind of want to just draw retirement afterward.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
So you want to draw retirement at the end of it? Is that your goal?
Yeah, I mean it's a career, pension, everything. You know, it's just how do you raise a family out in New York City? It's scary out here.
It's rough. It's definitely rough.
Yeah, I was thinking about moving to Texas, moving somewhere down south, a nice red state or something. How is it over there? I believe it's Virginia, right?
Well, I'm from Virginia, but I live in Tennessee, and it's great. Virginia's changing because of the governor. He's a super leftist dude. Northern Virginia is real bad. Northern Virginia is like Austin, Texas, San Francisco is real bad in Northern Virginia, but Southern Virginia is not as bad. Western Virginia is much better. And once you get to Tennessee, it's real good out here. Georgia is pretty good, except for Atlanta. Texas is good, except for Austin, of course, and some of the bigger cities. But for the most part,
Yeah.
I mean, you can live like, for example, a prime example is Tennessee. Now, a lot of the transplants when they go to Nashville, straight to Nashville, right? But Nashville is a blue county. It's not as blue as somewhere in California. However, if you go outside of Nashville, like 20 minutes away, 15 minutes away, you're in straight red country. So it's fine, you know. But if you want to live right in the smack dab middle of the city, it could be a little bit bad, but not as bad as California or New York.
Oh no, I've had my fill of New York. I got into politics maybe like 3 years ago. I've spoken to you on the phone before. I don't know, a while ago, but I got into politics like 3 years ago, and I think like if I was a one issue voter, which I'm not, it would be pro-life or like pro-gun issues, because I think you don't have to be religious to value life.
Right.
And I just want to go to a state that, to me, somebody that's pro-life, they have morals. Even though they're not religious, or even if they are, they have morals, and that type of framework it's important to me. And the right to protect yourself is also important. So any state that I can move in to raise a family, meet somebody good, well, I mean, obviously do that the opposite, meet somebody good, raise a family, that's what my ultimate goal is. So that's why I'm trying to find a state that's like pro-life, pro-gun, leave me alone, let me raise a family, and that's it.
And that's the way to go. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I had you on Facebook before I deleted Facebook. I didn't even comment, but congratulations on getting married. I know it was a while ago, but I haven't spoken to you in a while.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna get back to work over here. It's about to be I think they said it was supposed to be a storm tonight. It's starting to rain now, but I'm gonna let you get back to the other calls. So it's good speaking to you.
All right. Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
All right. No problem. Have a good night.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Yeah, trying to go up there working in New York, it can be rough. I've been seeing a bunch of New York videos on social media lately, and you guys in these rats, I mean, are these feral cats or are they rats? Like, did they combine? Is it like Master Splinter? Is that what they got the whole idea from for the turtles? So you got Master Splinter and these gigantic turtles. That's where you get that from. Splinter is like the size of an actual rat in New York City. It's crazy. Yeah, I don't want to live around stuff like that. But maybe that's not everywhere where you get these big rats. If I see a big rat in a posh apartment somewhere, then we got a problem. Anyway, 512, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello there.
Hello.
Hello, ABL.
Yes, this is me.
Hey, I'm so glad to get through to you. I'm calling from outside of Austin, Texas.
All righty. What's going on?
Well, I wanted to talk to you a little bit. I moved out of Austin last year, just disillusioned with everything that's going on there. And didn't want to leave because I do have two sons in Austin, so I moved out to the Hill Country. But I still do a little bit of business in Austin, and I wanted to share a particular situation that I have in regards to our Democrats who have fled, and ask questions of you and your listeners, because I know you're not going to know the rules for the state of Texas legislators.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So I am in real estate, and I'm leasing a condo downtown to one of our fine representatives who have fled to D.C. And originally he leased it from January to June. And then on June 1st, he contacted me and said, hey, I want to extend my lease. And so I'm wondering about the date. Did they already know on June 1st that they were going to do this?
In my opinion, I believe so.
And,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And so they extended from July to August 31st. So that may be coming into their game plan as well. I don't know how long they're planning to stay in D.C., but the lease is through the 31st. So I'm not sure about their plans there. So that's my question to ask folks is, when were these decisions made? And can you actually pay for your rental properties out of your campaign funds?
That's a really good question.
I'm just curious about some of these things. I don't know the answer to it, and I tried to look it up online and Google it, but I'm thinking maybe some of your other listeners may know more.
Okay. Now, I have some answers for you. I believe they probably already knew about it long in advance. As soon as the whole thing about the voting came out and it was going to be pushed through, they probably knew about it back then, because this has been done before as far as the whole Democrat escape, going somewhere else to prevent from voting
Correct.
in Texas. That happened probably about 17 years ago. So it's not new.
Mm-hmm.
It's already been done, number one. And then number two, these things cost a lot of money. They said it cost them $100,000 to do for the 2 chartered flights, $100,000. And you have to pay for their expenses, whether they're doing Airbnb, hotels. This is going to be very expensive. So you got to be able to procure the money. It probably comes from Washington. And you have to be able to arrange everybody's trip, arrange the bus ride, get them a little light beer, all that kind of stuff. You have to be able to plan this stuff. You got to be able to arrange it and execute it. So it was probably already done well into advance. And as far as campaign funds, you're not supposed to directly spend campaign funds, but there's ways around it. Like I've seen guys, it's a hustle. It's an old school hustle. What they do, they'll raise campaign money, and then from their campaign money, they'll pay an LLC that is linked to themselves indirectly sometimes. A prime example of this is Ilhan Omar. Well, this is kind of a weird one, but this is just one way that they scam. Now, Ilhan Omar was married to her actual husband, the guy she has kids with. She was married to him through the Islamic marriage. She was married to a guy that might have been her brother through legal means. But anyway, once she got divorced from the brother and the actual husband through the Islamic thing, she got with a guy by the name of Tim Minette. Now, Tim Minette has a consulting company, and 70% of Ilhan Omar's campaign money goes to Tim Minette. 70%. So if Tim Minette is married to Ilhan Omar and he's getting 70% of her money, you think the money won't go back to the household? So it's a lot of things like that going on that they try to skirt around the law. You're not allowed to directly spend your money.
Actually, I'm sorry to apologize for interrupting. No, they're actually paying the checks directly out of. They wrote the check. It's like the Jussie Smollett thing. They wrote the check out of the campaign funds. So I definitely have all the receipts for that. So I have the leases, I have the extensions, I have the correspondence, I have the canceled checks that they're doing this out of campaign funds.
Okay, now if that's going on, the only excuse they may have is like, okay, this is a campaign expense, because do they live in Austin, or are they just there because they have to be there when they have to vote? You see what I'm saying? Like, do they live somewhere else? Like, are they an Austin representative, or do they live like in Dallas?
They're not an Austin rep. No.
Okay, so they may try to say. So they may try to say
the language is like really fuzzy. When I went and looked at it, it's really fuzzy. When you're saying, is it a campaign? Well, they're not campaigning. They're affecting their duties.
Yeah, so that's just a legal little loophole.
Yeah, and if they're not affecting their duties because they're not in Texas. So I'm not happy with all this, and I just thought, well, I put it out there that I have these questions and I can't find answers, and maybe you or some of your listeners can give some more detailed information to me.
Well, I'll say that they might be able to say that's a campaign expense because they don't live there. and they're just paying for that because they have to be there. They could say that maybe potentially, but well, I will tell you this: if you have that, put it in a safe place. don't have that like in your apartment or somewhere. Put that in a safe place because we know how the government is. I'll just leave that right there.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate it.
Bye.
All right. Wow. That's something right there. Yeah. Be safe. Be safe because you know the streets are watching. So put that somewhere safe. Don't tell anybody you doing it. I don't know your name. I don't know nothing, but don't tell nobody nothing. But if you are leasing that, then the federales already know because they're going to track that. Like if you have a student loan, they can garnish your wages. They can go into your bank account and take money out. You got Wells Fargo Bank. Okay, let's take this money out of here to pay this federal loan. They got that power, so they can see everything already. But keep your receipts for yourself in a very safe place where don't nobody know where it's at. All right, let's get to some more calls here. 479, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello, ABL. It's Didi calling from Serbia. I called you like 3 weeks ago, and I was seeing the chat, and people were calling me drunk. I was not drunk. I was nervous because it was the first time calling you, and English is not my first language. So I asked you a serious question last time, but this time I'm going to ask you, what guns did you lose in your boating accident?
Oh, what guns did I lose? Oh, I had some nice guns. I had a Glock 19. I had actually I can't even say what the other ones were because I don't want them to think that I don't want them to try to find something and say that it's mine. But I had a Glock 19. I'll tell you that one. I put it on the internet before. I had a Glock 19. I had some rifles, and I had a couple shotguns. That's what I lost in the boating accident. But I can't get into the specifics because the federales are watching.
That's all I need. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate it. All right. Shout out to my man coming from Serbia. Get to some more. 808, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, this is Scotty, ABL.
All righty. What's going on?
All right, man. Thanks for taking my call. A couple of things I wanted to talk about briefly. Number one, I'm a high school teacher in Hawaii, and I teach social studies, U.S. history and government. And I wanted to thank you because I do as many debates as I can with the students to practice their thinking skills. And unlike many of the teachers who, seem to pop in their arguments, their personal arguments, and start arguing with the kids, I really tried to balance it out as much as possible so that the students can really think about different points of view. And I wanted to thank you because I use some of your arguments from your videos, and sometimes when you got like a big majority on one side of an issue and the minority students, in the argument need some assistance, I might chime in and give them some of the stuff that you've spoken about. So I wanted to say I appreciate that from you.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, that's number one. Second of all, I don't know if you guys have talked about this today, but regarding the Trump lawsuit against big tech, what is your opinion, number one, of that going forward? And are you going to potentially be involved? Because, you're pretty big time now at in the YouTube and all of that. So just wanted to get your perspective on that whole lawsuit issue. And are you going to be involved in it at all? Thank you.
Well, thank you for that. Appreciate it. I'm not sure what I can do as far as a lawsuit is concerned because, that's between Trump and the federales. It's really just like him. So I don't really know what I could do. If he needs any kind of help promoting it, which he doesn't, maybe I could help doing that, but I'm not really sure what I could do. But as far as a lawsuit itself, it may have some legs, but it's going to be hard. A lot of these things, you're trying to get the federal government on something legal, some legal issues, and also big tech. It's like fighting two beasts, two undefeatable beasts, like final bosses, because the federal government and big tech have equal amounts of power. So it's almost impossible. But, you know, Trump has achieved impossible before. Nobody thought he'd be able to win the election, and he did. So there's a chance his lawsuit can go forward, but I'm not really sure what the result is going to be. I'll keep an eye on it to see how it's going, but it's going to be hard for sure. If I can help some kind of way, I'll do it, but I'm not really sure what I can do.
So as far as right now, there is no kind of like a class action type of coordination that you know of to try to help, you know, conservatives and anybody that's trying to be censored on the big tech platforms. There's nothing on that starting as far as you know.
Not that I know of. I've not heard about that.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your work.
I thank you for the call. I appreciate it. Okay, so is it class action? I mean, I must have missed that part about it being class action. But I don't really know a lot. I need to look more into it. I saw what the lawsuit was going to be and what it was for and who was being sued, but I didn't see the class action part. So let's get to a few more here. The number to call, 434-658-1220. There's also an email in the description box for Skype. And let's get to some more. Let's go 770, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL Studios. How you doing, man?
Everything's great. About yourself?
Oh, pretty good, man. I had to mute TV.
All right.
Hey, I don't know what's going on, but I can't Skype you. I don't know if the Feds got me blocked or what, but I nearly couldn't get in contact with you.
Well, I'm glad you're able to get on.
I am too. I can't believe I did. If it wasn't through my business line, I probably wouldn't have.
Right.
Hey, man, I listened to, the red pill deal, the guy.
Who is this?
He had a doctor on today. I think everybody needs to listen to her.
Okay.
That's pretty much all I had to say, man. I think you, as always, I think you're doing great. I can't believe evidently you haven't changed your number because this number got through to you, my business line.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. They're talking about trying to block text messages and trying to block numbers too from the government. I don't know what's going on. You got to look into that.
I don't know either. I don't know if I'm tagged or you're tagged or we're tagged or whatever. But the red pill guy had a pretty good deal with that doctor on. I think everybody needs to listen to that about the COVID deal. And what she had to say is a lot of common sense. I know I'm an old country boy down here in the South, man, but I know you are too.
That's right.
That's kind of all I had to say. I'm just glad I got finally glad I got in touch with you, man.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Hey, man, you have a good one. Take care, buddy.
All right, same to you.
Bye.
All right, shout out to the caller. All right, good old country boy. Shout out to him. All right, let's get to some more. Let's go 563, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, it's Jeremiah. ABL, I love your opening song. Remember me, man?
No, I don't.
That's okay. But don't worry about that. Hey, we talked about regulations last time. I was the crazy guy who said I watched a little Sam Cedar.
Okay.
No, but hey, I know it's a little off topic for you, but would you be down for talking about Israel-Palestine?
We can talk about it.
Cool. So pretty much all I have to say about it is it seems Israel, they justify what they call war crime, what Palestinians call war crimes, because a lot of the missiles that the Palestinian forces are keeping are in radio stations and hospitals and such. What do you know or think about that?
What's the question?
What do you know about, the Mossad, which is the Israeli, it's their CIA.
Okay.
They give us, we say, hey, in Palestine, we're getting bombed by Israel in our hospitals and our radio stations and such. And the Mossad's response is they're keeping their weapons and their troops in there, which they're not supposed to do. Have you heard anything about that?
Okay, so basically, like, the complaint from Palestine is you guys are bombing, like, residential areas, places you shouldn't be bombing.
Yeah, just areas deemed war crimes.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, they do that on purpose. It's like they're using them as human shields. They do that. That's what they do, because it's like you could easily shoot those rockets from somewhere else, not right there where you get kids at. So it's like, why would you do that? It's like you're just making them. They're kind of baiting them to do that, so then they can play to be the victim. At the same time, if they're able to successfully say that they're the victim, then they could just launch rockets with impunity and not have anything happen, and they just got to take it. So it's a tactic they're using, and it's not really working that well.
Interesting, dude. I'm glad you know about that, and it was refreshing to hear your point of take on that, because I watch a lot of your videos and I'm like, man, he doesn't really touch on this. I wonder if he thinks about this at all.
Yeah, I definitely keep my eyes on a lot of different things, and that's one of them I've been looking at. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it.
All right, and I was hoping I could ask you one more quick question, and I'll phrase this one in a question better than I usually do.
All right.
So, would you say that the left and the right could come together maybe on regulations towards censoring on social media platforms?
Well, I don't think so, because the issue is that the left are not being censored, but the right is. So the left would kind of join forces with the right if they were being censored, but that's not happening. I think it was one.
Sorry, my fault, ABL.
I think it was one situation where this site called Right Wing Watch, which is a left site, they talk about they got blocks from YouTube, and then within like instantly a bunch of left-wing people stood up and said, oh, don't do this, it's a censorship, blah blah blah. They didn't join hands with us on the right, it just among themselves said it, and within a few minutes it was reversed. So that's how they operate. They wouldn't want to join hands with us because they use these platforms to censor us. They use these things to censor us on the left. That's the dynamic.
So what you said there is so sound, and you took. If I had any type of left wing argument to argue against you, you pulled the rug from underneath me, because you talked about, Right Wing Watch, that website. That's a good one. But I have to say, something that all YouTubers could come together and talk about is the demonetizing of using music. It's like I know people who are vocal coaches, and the only way they can make money is off of Patreon, because they can't even watch a song and do a reaction of how good the vocals are on a song, because they'll get copyright strike. They won't make any money. So it seems like there is some sort of is that off topic from the censoring?
Yeah, it's different, because with music, that's a whole different thing. Music, that's the music industry that needs to be, because that's not YouTube, that's music industry. That's why they have Vivo and stuff like that, because you're dealing with private companies and they don't want their stuff online. That's the whole thing. That's why Prince for a long time did not have anything on YouTube, because he prevented it. He just didn't want it at all. Even though he could make money on it, he didn't want it at all. So that's a whole different ball of wax right there. You're talking about the music industry.
Hey, I'll let you go. Thank you for telling me about Prince. I'm going to look into that. I didn't know about Prince doing that, not putting music on YouTube. I appreciate that. I love Prince.
I think it might be reversed now because he passed away, and his estate may have kind of believed.
Yeah, sure.
But when he was living, he didn't allow it.
Okay, well, I'll look into that, ABL, man. Have a great night. Thanks for taking the call again.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you. Yeah, music is kind of tricky. You're dealing with the music industry. You're dealing with these record labels, and that's a whole different thing. Like you can't just play music like that. I know if you have like a real club, like a real nightclub, and you playing music, you're supposed to pay for that. You gotta have a license for that, to actually play music in the club. Now, if you got one of these little hole in the wall clubs, you could just pretty much do whatever and try to get away with it. But if you have a real big club and stuff like that, oh no, you gotta pay to play music in a club. A DJ, you gotta pay. Also, I almost got sued for using a picture on my website. If you use a picture that's copyrighted on your website, they can sue you for that. So, yeah, with intellectual property, things of that nature, people's private, that's a whole different thing. YouTube censorship is about ideas. If it comes from YouTube.com and their policy about what they believe is a company, it's about ideas. It's about what you say. It's about, I think the sun is green. I think the sun is yellow. I think it's white. I think the earth is flat. These are ideas that they want to eliminate. But with music and copyrighted like movies, that's the movie industry, music industry, etc. That's like private property you're dealing with there. Okay, let's get to some more here. 972. Uh-oh, a little bit too slow to the trigger. Let's go 724. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
This is Zach.
All right, man. What's happening?
Hey, what's going on, man? Long time no talk. Hey, Bill, I got a question for you. If one of the Biden goons comes to your door to ask you about the vaccine, what will you tell them?
I tell them, hey, I don't accept solicitors. Have a nice day, and I leave. I'll go back in my house. I'm not making that's it. I'm not making the fuss. It's not gonna be nothing. That's it. And really, I get people to come to the door sometimes, like they, salesmen or whatever. I don't even really come to the door, so I'm just not even going to engage them. See, now they can come to the door, but if they want to try to be invasive, looking at my window or trying to leave something, then that's going to be a different issue. But it's not going to be a scene. They're just not going to be able to interact with me in a serious way.
Yeah, I understand. I don't know, ABL. I think you should, if they do that, and I think you should record them, and I think you should lecture them, and post it on your website. I think that'd be very entertaining.
I could do that, but I mean that's not even really how I operate at my house because I'm not trying to draw a scene. But yeah, they're not gonna if they want to be persistent, that's a different story. But if I say no soliciting, have a good day, and that's not enough, now okay, let's go to the recording. That's pretty much how I operate.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey man, I don't know if you talked about this earlier. Did you see where Biden did a press conference and he finally came out and said, basically communism bad, and I believe socialism is not something that would be a good alternative as well.
You say it one more time now?
Well, after the whole Cuba thing, he didn't have much to say about it, and as far as criticizing communism basically. And then after a few days, now he's coming out and criticizing it. And he also said that I don't think socialism is an adequate substitute for communism either. So I know the far left is probably freaking out about that.
Well,
but it's
go ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that
that's it.
Okay, I think that Biden can say stuff like that, and it won't really be a problem because they know that he's not in charge. You see what I'm saying? Like they could go out there and be outraged. You may have AOC give him a little sneak tweet on Twitter, a little sneak diss, as a cool kid say on Twitter, and say something about it, but it's not really going to be a big issue because at the end of the day, this man can barely put one foot in front of the other. He pretty much has 2 feet in the proverbial grave. So what's the point in really retaliating against him? They, at the end of the day, are behind the scenes controlling what's going on. So if they want to go toward communism, then that's what they want to do. But Joe Biden says it's irrelevant in their eyes.
Yeah, it's interesting that at the first few days after that story broke, with Cuba protesting, the squad and AOC didn't have much to say about it, right? 3 or 4 days later, BLM comes out, and obviously they're scapegoating America. They're blaming the embargo, you know. And then after that, AOC comes out and makes a statement. It's almost like she's parroting them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
She's echoing what they're saying, BLM, because she agrees with them. Obviously, she's a socialist, a communist. I just can't figure Biden out, man. He flip flops like a pancake.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what is it? You know, I believe he. I don't know. I think during the debates, I believe he came out and said, yes, we're for open borders. And he'll say things to placate socialists, and it'll go back when, you know, the feedback comes in, and the polls say, you know, normal people don't really, they're not really on board with that stuff, and it'll flip-flop. So it's just so hard to, like, I guess he's a puppet. I don't know.
Of course, that's what it is.
Yeah. Absolutely crazy, man. But hey, thanks for taking my call, and keep doing your thing, man.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, have a good one. Bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. We got some breaking news here. Now, this whole defund the police thing is not going too well in Washington, D.C., is it? Now it's hitting the Washington Nationals. Now, nobody's injured as far as I know, but apparently they heard some gunshots right outside the Nationals Park. Yeah, so after the sixth inning at the Nationals Padres game, they heard gunshots. My man's on the mound, getting ready to pitch. And let's see if we can hear it.
In this half inning coming. 3-2. Swing and a miss. Slider up in the zone. Gets Myers swinging. Padres put 3 more on the board. 8-4. Three more on the board. 8-4.
Is that it right there? I can't really know. I don't know if that was the beginning of music or if that was the gunshots. Did you guys hear it? Let's roll it back one more time and see if you can hear it.
In this half inning coming. 3-2. Swing and a miss. Slider up in the zone. Gets Myers swinging. Padres put 3 more on the board. 8-4.
I think what happened was there was a bunch of gunshots and they tried to cover it up with music at the end of it. And 2 people did get shot. I don't know if anybody died yet. 2 people got shot outside the park. Defund the police though, right? Now they want to evacuate the park. I'm like, what's the point in evacuating? I ain't going nowhere. I mean, are the police out there? Do they have the scene under control? They want to evacuate the park, and they want to have the police come out there right now. So how long will it take for the police to get out there? That's what I want to know. Defunding them. Are they going to take 45 minutes like they do in Atlanta when they got carjacked? What's going on with that? See, when regular normies now feel the effect of defunding the police, they might think about it a little bit different. People that are in that ballpark may have never really been around that before. Gunshots, oh, what's going on? I've been around that. Duck down on the ground and don't get hit. It's like, remember that video? I don't know, you guys may have seen it in Minnesota where they were shooting at the George Floyd Memorial. That big giant fist or whatever in the middle of the daytime. They were shooting. I think it was a drive-by, whatever you want to call it. Now, one guy got straight on the ground, was crawling and everything, and the other guy was just like, oh, what's that? Are those gunshots? It's like, sir, yes, they're gunshots. You need to get on the ground before you must run to catch one in your hind parts. But we'll move on. So, yeah, that just happened at the Washington Nationals San Diego Padres game in Nationals Park in D.C. All right, right outside the park, 2 people got shot during the ball game at the end of the 6th inning. Take me out. Pop, 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 pop. Anyway. 972, you want to learn who I'm speaking to.
Hey, Mr. ABL, this is Unifier TV.
Hey, man, what's going on?
No, not much, man. Just not much. I wanted to quickly tell you, I have a teacher who sent me a DM on Instagram, and I'm trying to get all the information. And it's crazy because as much as we know about the CRT thing and how they're trying to corrupt these kids' minds, it actually goes way deeper than I thought. This lady is a teacher out of New Jersey, and she's in a battle with her school right now because not only is she opposing CRT, they actually teach the students at this school to basically not expect anything from a teacher that's a different color than them. They tell the students in New Jersey, I don't know what school district this is or how many districts are in New Jersey, but she's battling them because they're telling them that basically unless the teacher is the same color as you, there's no way they have your best interest at heart. And so that's making the kids have this bias towards the teacher immediately when they see the color of their skin. And I even saw a Facebook post today where this lady said her daughter's friend transferred classes because the teacher wasn't black. And so, it goes way deeper than just the kids looking at each other differently. Now the kids are looking at the teacher differently. So, I mean, I don't know what the point of this whole agenda is, but it's really getting out of hand. So as soon as she sends me the documentation, I'll try to send it to you because she tells me that the name on the top of one of these documents that they presented in the Zoom call had a Soros-founded company on it, George Soros. So this is definitely a very dark agenda just because he's involved. So I don't know how bad it's going to get, but it's bad enough. So I just wanted to run that by you. As soon as I get it, I'll send it your way.
Well, I appreciate that, man, for sure.
All right, man. Enjoying the show. You have a good rest of the weekend. I know you're going to be off tomorrow, so I'll catch your next video on Monday.
All right, thanks for the call, man. Appreciate you.
All right.
Yeah, it's crazy. This whole black and white teacher. That's something I never really thought about as a kid. Is my teacher black or they white? I didn't really care about. Like I said before, the main thing is, do I have a good teacher or not? Am I at a good school or not? I went to 3 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, 2 high schools. And then in between that, little daycare centers. I went to a Christian preschool before kindergarten. And these little daycare centers have like little educational programs too, or after school programs, stuff like that. I did a lot of moving around in these different things. And I knew that certain centers are better than other centers. Certain little rec centers better than other rec centers. Certain schools I went to were better than others. They had better facilities. College too was the same way. I went to community college first, and then I went to ODU in Norfolk. And then I would compare each campus that I went to at the community college because they had different cities. I went to a campus in Portsmouth, Chesapeake. I think I went to a Norfolk. No, I didn't go to Norfolk. I went to Virginia Beach. And each campus was different. And the programs that some of the classes I had at the community college were better than ODU. ODU was like $7,000 a year back then when I went for in-state, off campus, right around that. I think it was like $7,500, not including books. And the community college I went to was like less than $1,000 at that time. So I thought that if I went to, well, it might have been 10,000. I don't know. Anyway, as far as ODU, point is that the community college was a lot less money than the 4-year college. So I thought when I went to the 4-year college, my facilities would not be as good as the 4-year college. But the 4-year college was much better as far as the graphic design thing that I wanted than ODU. Quick story, then I get back to the calls. So at the community college, we had this art center specifically for art. It was a separate campus in downtown Portsmouth, Virginia. Beautiful place. You go in there, it has 3 floors. On the first floor, it's a whole art gallery. So some of the students' projects would be down there on display. You could check it out. You in the art gallery, right? You go upstairs, you get classes. And then on the 3rd floor, that's where I had most of my classes. And in the computer lab, I guess you would call it, it wasn't like the old school computer lab. You had these big, long desks, like 7-foot long desks, talking about plenty of space, brand new iMacs, and you have natural light coming in. They turn the regular lights off and let the natural light come in. It was a beautiful place. Great view of the city. It was fantastic. When I go the next year to ODU, the 4-year college, I'm in the computer lab. I'm in the old school chair. I ain't been in the chair this long since I've been in 8th grade. I'm talking about one of those chair desk combos. I'm in one of those before I get to the computers. And then when I get to the computer, I'm in this raggedy, rickety dink chair in this old computer lab with old computers. I'm like, wait a minute, why am I paying 7, 8, 9 times the money for this? It don't make no sense. So I digress. But yeah, what difference does it make what the color of the teacher is? The most important thing is, are the facilities good? Is the education good? Do I have good teachers or no? Do I have bad teachers or no? That is what's most important, period. I didn't care if I had a black teacher. When I was at TCC, I had white teachers, black teachers. It didn't really matter. I didn't really care. Are you good or not? But I digress. I'm getting triggered, so I'll move on. 817, you know, learn who I'm speaking to.
Doro, how are you, ABL?
I'm well. About yourself?
Oh, I'm fine. I can't believe I got through a second time and a second show in a row. I went to a forum or town hall meeting, you might say, Thursday night, and Don Huffines and Chad Prather were both there. They're both gubernatorial candidates here in Texas.
Yeah.
And anyway, Don Huffines used to be a state senator, so he's familiar with the laws, and he was listing these legal remedies that Governor Abbott has in the Texas Constitution for dealing with these Democrats that took off.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he said he could impound their vehicles. He could freeze their campaign funds. And I was blown away. I was sitting there thinking, man, I wish this guy was governor now. I'm a little nervous on the phone. I don't know why. I guess because there are 1658 people listening to me.
You're doing well, man. It's just me and you. Ain't nobody else here.
Yeah. But anyway, he was knowledgeable, and he was, coming from a place of strength, like he's not going to take it. I was impressed. So anyway, we got 3 good gubernatorial candidates, and my thinking is what we ought to do is we ought to elect them in order from oldest to youngest. That way we'll have 3 good governors in a row.
Okay, so do you think that Chad Prather would be a good candidate, a good governor, pardon me?
I think so. He said he wants to get Texas or get government out of our lives. He doesn't want government to be a thing that you're thinking about, and so and one thing, Don Huffines mentioned. Don Huffines said he wants to take state sovereignty to a level that we are unaccustomed to. He said he's never going to ask the federal government for permission to secure the border. So I'm on the Huffines train right now.
I mean, it sounds pretty good. It definitely sounds good. I mean, if he's able to come, follow through on the promises, because we know how politicians are. Sometimes make all these they set lofty goals for themselves and make grandiose promises, and they don't follow through. So if he's able to follow through, he'd be great for sure.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. I think he would at least made a good faith effort, like Trump made a good faith effort. He wasn't able to do everything he wanted to do because he was opposed by the Democrats and the media and everything else. But Trump either did it or he made an attempt to do the things that he promised. And I believe Huffines is sincere. Otherwise, I wouldn't be I wouldn't be supporting him.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, I don't know which one is older between Huffines and what is the other one? Allen West.
Yeah.
So I have to look that up. I'll have to figure out which one of those guys is older. But anyway, it was a good night, and I was surrounded by fellow patriots. It was just, I needed that. It was therapeutic.
Definitely. It's always good to go to some of these rallies because there's just so much good energy. Everybody's on the same page. You don't have to be afraid to show who you are. You could just be you. So it's always a great thing to be around for sure.
Yeah. Oh, and in this time of victimhood, I'll leave you with a joke. This young black man takes his mom to a baseball game, and it's her first time ever seeing a baseball game. And so anyway, the leadoff hitter, he's a black guy. He hits the ball to shallow left field and runs to first. Base hit. The crowd cheers. And then the next batter up is a white guy. First pitch is outside, ball 1. Next pitch, inside, ball 2. Anyway, the pitcher ends up walking him. And so the lady nudges her son and says, "Hey, wait a minute. How come the black man has to hit the ball and run to first, and the white man gets to set his bat down and walk to first?" And the guy says, "Because, Mom, he got 4 balls." And she thinks for a second and nods her head and says, "Well, they should show him some consideration."
This voice is not really the wave. You could have, if you didn't do the voice, it would have been much better for sure. Yeah,
well, I was getting into character.
Yeah, lose the voice would have been better, man. But thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate it.
All right, have a good night.
All right. Yeah, let's not do the voice no more. But yeah, I understand what he was going, but nah, that wasn't really it. All right, let's get to some more. Let's go. 443, you don't line. Who am I speaking to? 443, hello.
Hey. How's it going, ABL?
Everything's great. How about yourself?
How
you hear me?
doing today?
I'm great. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right, man. Yeah, I just want to call in. I just wanted to know if anybody else has been getting phone calls from the Maryland Vaccine Center. I think Joe Biden's trying to call me. Let me know that, vaccines are available.
I've not gotten a call from the Maryland Vaccine Center. Do you live in Maryland?
Yeah, I am. I live in Maryland, but the phone calls come from around D.C. area. So
yeah,
I was just wondering.
I don't really. I'm not sure they're going to call you and say that. So I wouldn't. If they ask you for anything sensitive, I just wouldn't do it. That could be some scammy type stuff going on.
Yeah, no, I ain't picking that stuff up. Come on now. I saw it was from the vaccine center. I ain't getting that.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I was just wondering if anybody, for the listeners and everything. Like, I've been getting phone calls from Maryland Vaccine Center coming out of D.C. It's kind of like that door to door. They're them coming door to door with giving the vaccines and stuff. So I just kind of wanted to get that out there. That they're really going forward with all this stuff. They can keep on calling though. They can just keep on getting my full voicemail.
Yeah, for sure. You get the full voicemail. I play a whole Beethoven. I play everything. I give you the full extent and make you just listen to it, and then leave a message, and I won't get back to you. That'll be how that goes.
I need to change my voicemail to something like "Stop calling me back." Yeah, I just want to call in about that, find out if anybody else has been getting that phone call and kind of what it's all about, because I ain't picking up for them. So anyway, yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about, ABL. Just, getting the information out there to other people, see if I'm the only one.
All right, well, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, man, have a good one.
Same to you. Yeah, so that probably I've never had calls like that, but then some of you guys say you actually answer your phone. Yeah, I don't answer. I got several numbers for different reasons, and I only answer like one or two of them. So, but most of the time I don't answer my phone. If you're not in my phone, I don't answer. Now, if it's an important call, you leave a message, and I'll get back to you if it makes sense. But if not, you're just not going to get it. It's like this right here, this number, this is just for the show. This is not active any other time. And if anybody tries to call it when I'm not on the show, they're not going to get anything. 360, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Mel Carter Jr. Love the show. Been watching for quite a while. Like, talk to ABL.
You're talking to him right now. What's happening?
Hey, man, what's happening? Hey, a pleasure to speak with you, sir. Let me turn this down because I'm watching. I got a question for you, sir. So I'm watching about these audits right now. And my question is, what will it take for the MSNBCs, you know, the CBSs and the CNNs and those conglomerates to actually start talking about what's actually taking place right now? And it's also going on in some other states too. What's going to happen before they have to buck up and start talking about it?
Well, I mean, they're not going to talk about it in a way that is realistic. How can I say this? If it goes anywhere, they're not going to talk about it in a positive way. They're going to try to downplay it. They're going to be negative. It'll be negative coverage. They talk about how they're trying to steal the election. The election was fair and it was free and all this and that. They'll try to downplay it. But they'll only do that if it has a negative outcome for them. They're not going to talk about it at all while it's just going on. They'll try to ignore it so nobody knows about it. That's their strategy right now. If they do talk about it at all ever, they talk about how, you know, people haven't gotten over the election. I saw on Fox, I was disappointed. I saw Brett Baird do this, and I was like, Brett Baird, what are you doing? He had Tom Cotton on there talking about something else. And then at the end of it, he said, Tom, you said certain things about the election that have now been deemed as untrue. Can you say right here on Fox News that Trump lost the election, that Joe Biden won? I was like, what is this? Not like North Korea? What is happening here? So
exactly.
If Fox News is doing that at Tom Cotton on television, live on air, I mean, you know, MS-13 DNC, they won't say anything about it until they are forced to do so if there is an actual conclusion that goes against their narrative.
Exactly, and that's where I'm at with this right now. I'm going to think with my logic that if everything goes the way it should go, somebody's going to have to say something about this, and they're going to have to talk about it and not be in denial about what I think happened in the last election. That's just my personal opinion.
Right.
That's what I think. So, you know, and then if they do have to buck up and say something that they don't want to say, but I really don't foresee them saying it unless something happens, and they're going to have to say it. And then if it comes down to that, what gets administered to correct the problem? What's going to take place? Will it be I got to be careful what I say. Will it be a public announcement from a certain person that's in charge right now? Because that would be the only way it could be done. A certain person tells the American people that, I didn't win the ball game. See what I'm saying?
Right.
So we're living in some trying times, ABN. You know, I'm 53, August 5th. I've watched your show quite a while. I enjoy your show. I've donated a few times when I can. But, you know, yeah, you kind of like think the same way I do about this. It's like, you know, in life there's winners and losers. That's what I think. I worked hard my whole life. And it seems to me that the people on the left, when they don't get their way, they live in worlds of denial about it. And then they're going to call you names and call you the devil, call you Hitler and, you know, Nazis and all this crap. This is crazy. I don't get it.
Right. I agree. It's crazy.
But, hey, I love your show, man. I'm not going to hold you up because I know you got other callers, and it was a pleasure to speak with you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate you.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, so we got an update from D.C. There have been 4 people that got shot outside the Washington Nationals Park. If you're just now coming in, you didn't see what happened. There was a shooting live during the Washington Nationals San Diego Padres baseball game. Live on there. At the end of the 6th inning, pitcher on the mound, pop, 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 like 7 shots right in a row. 4 people got shot. And then, I don't know why, but I read that they evacuated the stadium. It's like, why would you do that? Like, did you clean the bodies up yet? Like, what's going on? Is it life-threatening injuries? Do you see blood? Like, are you contaminating the crime scene? Where did they get shot? Is it like at the entrance? Is it just somewhere near the stadium? What's going on? If they got gunshots happening, I'm not leaving until I know that everything, the coast is clear. Okay, or unless you want to, get a helicopter, land it right there on the center diamond, and take me up and get me to where I got to go. But aside from that, I'm straight. All right, let's get to the next one. 843 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, hi, hey, Bill. Okay, you hear me?
I hear you well.
Oh wow, I actually got in. That's insane.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's going on?
Oh, I just wanted to talk to you about the whole White House tech thing. I mean, honestly, you can disagree with me on this, but honestly, when I heard that was honestly very, very concerning. When I heard that, I was just like, no way, they're actually doing stuff like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, see, the thing about it is, I kind of already have figured that. I figured they would do stuff like that, but when they came out and admitted it, I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy that they would just come out there and say it live on television. But at the same time, I can't really say I'm surprised.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but I can't say I'm surprised, really.
And the funny thing is, she admitted it around the same time, Trump's trying to sue all these big tech companies. It's it's almost that they almost have a case right now, honestly. I mean, I don't know for sure, but it's kind of funny how that she admitted it right off the bat, off of it. That's just absolutely absurd.
Right. Yeah.
It's oh my, it's I don't know, man. I normally, I don't like to fear monger. I don't like to call people to go crazy or nothing, but I don't know, that just kind of raised an alarm at least in my opinion. It's oh wow. I mean, I think that's definitely that should definitely be a big wake up call, especially with what was happening in Cuba with apparently the internet was shut off over there and whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, they're trying to silence the revolution or the uprising, protest, whatever you want to call it, because it got a lot of attention. And then I think that sparked a lot of people going to Cuba on boats, rafts, whatever, to bring supplies to them. So in order for that to stop happening, they said, okay, we're going to shut the internet off. You can't coordinate your protests. You can't do anything.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
and one more thing. I don't want to hold you up or nothing, and that's funny because, the Biden administration recently saying, you're not welcome here and whatnot. And it's funny because I thought we had open borders. I thought you can just come right in, come on, and it's oh, oh my God. I don't know. It's ridiculous.
It is. It really is.
All right. Well, ABL, I enjoy watching your show and whatnot. I appreciate what you do. Keep it up. It was nice talking to you, man.
Well, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right. Now, as far as the baseball game, the shooting was outside of the stadium. This is the Nationals Park in Washington, D.C., outside the stadium. Nobody got shot inside the stadium, but it's outside. And right when the outside shooting happened, they're talking about evacuating the stadium. I'm like, okay, my question was, where did the shooting happen? Was it somewhere behind the stadium? Was it close to the entrance outside the stadium? I mean, are you going to contaminate the crime scene? What's going on? I'm not going anywhere. I'm going in the dugout. How about that? I'm going in the dugout. Give me some Big League Chew. Give me some tobacco. I'm hanging out with y'all. That's where I'm going, Anyway, let's move on to the next one. Let's go 484. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello, this is Joshua from Pennsylvania.
All righty, what's going on?
Hey, I just want to speak on the subject of the, it was, on CNN, in the Biden officials apparently finally concluded about, about the fact that the coronavirus actually spoke or actually leaked from China lab. I think I just saw that either today or sometime yesterday. And the one thing that really like cracks me up about this is because for the last year you had guys on Fox News, you had Trump, and you had I'm gonna say like Tucker Carlson. They were always, spreading this thing. I mean, and everybody always thought of it like it was a conspiracy theory. But the funny part is, and I posted this on Facebook, it actually came true. And, it's funny. I'm like, and the funny part is that Biden, the officials, apparently are taking credit for it. And when really it was Trump's idea in the first place, they just, Biden just made it official, frankly.
Right.
Yeah, that's something I just happened to see online, so I wanted to throw that out there. I don't know if you discussed that earlier in your show or in previous shows.
I'm not sure if I have, but that's I could look into that.
Yeah, it was on CNN, I think, and I don't know if the exactly when the article was posted, but I saw it this morning.
Okay, well, I'll check it out for sure.
Okay. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I don't really have anything more to add for certain, and please excuse me, I am talking a little nervous.
Oh, it's all right.
A little late. But I just wanted to at least, throw that one in there because I know you weren't talking much about COVID. Only about the vaccines. But as far as the virus, I know in the show we weren't talking about that.
Well, thank you for the call.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, now.
Yeah. Have a good day.
Same to you. All righty. Let's get to a few more here. Number to call, 434-658-1220. And let's go to... All right. I was a little late on that one. Let's go 215 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, how's it going?
Everything's great. How about yourself?
I'm good. But here's what's on my mind. So basically,
I got a lot of, hold on. I got a lot of background noise going on.
Wait, can you hear me now?
I hear you, but there's a lot of background noise happening.
Really? Background noise? Like, what does it sound like?
Sounds like the show.
Show? Really? Can't be. Hold up. All right, can you hear me now?
It sounds the exact same. Do you have like noise happening like in the background where you are?
Oh God. I can't believe it's that loud. I got like, well, I'm on a moving vehicle. The air conditioner's on. Is that a problem? Hold on.
Oh, okay.
All right, so can you hear me now? I'll move.
That's a little bit better. Okay, go ahead.
All right. What I was saying was so basically from what I've heard, from what I've seen for myself, BLM, now they're trying to say that what's going on in Cuba, now they're blaming America for that, which is completely ridiculous. Because I watched videos of when they put out that full statement. What was it on Twitter? One of those social media pages. And it's just now they're just open communism. Basically, they're open communists and socialists. Well, we always knew that compared from what we saw last year, but I know I saw. Did you ever see the video where Joe Biden actually came out and said that communism and socialism has not worked in either country, no country at all? It's a failed experiment.
Yeah, I did see that. But see, the thing about Joe Biden is it doesn't really matter what he says because the people that are really controlling things, the ones that are behind the scenes, they're going to call the shots. It won't be Sleepy Joe at all.
Oh yeah, because pretty much like you said, because he's weak, he's like frail, he's just not there.
Exactly.
It seemed like his dementia didn't start until like 2018, 2019, because they even show videos of him from 2016, and he was still fine. But it seemed like right when he started running for president, his dementia started.
Yeah, I mean I think it was just a gradual decline because over the years I've seen him decline. It's been a process, but it's happening right now, and it's kind of difficult to ignore. There may have been like a little flash here and there, like a little sign here and there that he was going down, but now you can't ignore it. It's right in front of your face.
Yeah, yeah, and basically the fact that when I heard one of these BLM people, say, she said she wants they want the prison system completely abolished. I'm like, these people are completely insane. Because it's like, once that happens, you know, I'm like, these crazy people do know they're gonna fall too. I'm like,
see, but they don't understand. They don't understand how that whole thing works. They don't really get it, but they'll learn soon enough.
oh God, yeah, because I'm like, that's troubling. Just the fact that she openly said it. I'm like, these people are just completely insane. But you know what's funny? I would love, like, everybody that's in Cuba right now, and in Hong Kong, and Cuba, Hong Kong, and Venezuela. I've seen pictures of them marching for the American flag. Even, some citizens in, Iran. Even citizens of Iran were holding the American flag, man. I had some people some lefties try to tell me, he said, yeah, but they don't know that America is systemically racist and all that kind of stuff. I was like, really? Because if, I don't know, these people who want to push this nonsense, they'll never leave this country. I already know that. They're not even trying to make an effort to leave. They just want to spread their poison to the entire world and get everybody else to hate this country. They do.
Right on, man. Right on. Thank you for the call, though. I definitely appreciate it.
All right, have a good one.
Same to you.
Okay.
All right, get to a few more here. Let's go. All right, call you on the line. We'll speak to 317.
Hey, what's up, Mr. Logan?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I missed most of the show tonight, so I don't know what the hell y'all even talking about. But excuse my language. But I was wanting to know, did you see where they're saying now about the gas being high because of high demand?
I've not seen that specifically.
Yeah, I guess that's what they're saying earlier. I seen that Jen Psaki. It's the high demand of gas. That's why the gas is so high. It's not because they just shut all the pipelines down. They don't want nobody getting to work on time, I guess. I don't know. But, man, I haven't called in a while because every time I've ever called past couple months, man, it's been 1,000 calls.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, keep it up, man. I love your show.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they always got some kind of excuse for something. Oh, it's high demand. Isn't it always high demand like during vacation time? Like, but it wasn't this high under Trump. But now all of a sudden the gas is super high. I mean, they had that whole thing with the pipeline, the hacking, all that kind of stuff. Maybe that affected it. Maybe you know, being in the middle of the lease is causing some problems. Maybe we're doing something wrong over there. I mean, it's you know, it's easy to point the finger somewhere else and say, oh, it's the fault of these people or that person or someone else, rather than just looking in the mirror and say, I did it. It's my fault. I'm the reason why X, Y, and Z happened, or I'm the reason why X, Y, Z did not happen. All right. Let's get to some more calls here. Let's go. 267 on line, I'm speaker to.
Hey, ABL.
What's happening?
How you doing?
I'm all right.
I'm good. I'm calling from Philly. So I had a question. So I never really heard you mention it, but I want to get your opinion on the Black Panthers because, you know, people talk about like with BLM and stuff like that. Like they basically asked for a whole bunch of stuff, like what the other caller was saying, abolishing the prisons, stuff like that. Like a lot. If I look at their charter and before, and it kind of replicates the Black Panther 10-point program, but it's like to me it's a staunch difference between the BLM and the Black Panthers in general. So like, what's your stance on the Panthers?
Well, the Panthers were much different because BLM is an LGBT movement. BLM is against the traditional family, against the nuclear family. They are founded by LGBT people. Everybody that's a founder, all the women are homosexual. The woman that, they're lesbians, yes. The woman that it was like she got caught buying all them houses, having a whole real estate portfolio. She's married to a woman who's also a co-founder. And then the other woman, I think her name was Alicia Garza. She is married to a white woman that now identifies as a man. So it's the LGBT movement from its inception. They're surrounding it by all this racial justice stuff. So anytime a black man dies, that's the only time they got a use for them. They don't like black men aside from when they die. So that's much different than Black Panthers, which was dominated by black men. And it was about community protection and things of that nature, trying to do things in the community. Now, ended up not going very well for a variety of reasons we could talk about at a different time. But the nature of both of the movements was totally different. One was like, it was men getting together. You had a lot of students that were involved. And it became something else down the line. A lot of the Black Panthers, you had some of the school kids or some of the hood kids mixed together. And then when Black Panthers ultimately kind of dissolved, you have a lot of the Oakland, San Francisco social justice spirit and some of the gangbanger spirit. Now you got Bloods and Crips. But the BLM people are all about destruction and all about pushing LGBT stuff. They're all about Marxism as well. It's different ways that they were trained from the beginning, different origins. They're really as similar as night and day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it seemed like the Panthers were definitely more masculine in the sense, like they were talking, like, you know, like they were walking around with firearms and people were getting arrested. They were making sure, like, look at people and get arrested, you're gonna make sure you're not getting abused. Which I'm opposed to their like political ideologies, but I do admire the fact that they were very self-sufficient. Like they were tending to people's wounds and stuff like that, giving people health care. They were feeding kids before they would go to school. So that's something I actually admire, that, you know, like BLM doesn't. BLM is not, it's not any form of encouragement to self-sufficiency at all. It's more about like, oh, we oppressed, please help us or give us what's ours, but we're not going to do nothing to better our situation type of thing.
Correct, 100%. So yeah, it's a complete night and day. The Black Panthers today would be considered kind of like the way that they started, they'd be considered kind of a conservative type movement today, by today's standards, in my opinion. What they became later obviously wasn't that, but in the beginning, that's how they would be kind of seen today by today's standards.
Oh yeah, and another thing. So I know with all the ammo shortages going around and stuff like that, do you think we'll ever get back to a point where like they're producing ammo in abundance? Because like I'm about to turn 20 later on this year, and I can't wait to purchase my first firearm, but I have to wait to buy a rifle. Well, I could buy a rifle now, but I'll have to wait until I get my own place. But yeah, do you think it's going to be any like increase in the amount of ammo production?
Oh, that's a good question. I really don't know. That's all up to. I think that's a question of supply chain, because the supply chain got disrupted during the scamdemic. I mean, pandemic, whatever. So I really don't know. That's a really good question, because right now there's a shortage. Now, depending upon where you live, I think the shortage is kind of is intentional. Like in California, they got a lot of restrictions that could choke the ammunition supply. But there needs to be an uptick in production. I'm not really sure how that's going to happen, but it needs to happen for sure. I think once we get back to a full workforce and people get off of those stimmy checks, we might see a difference.
Yeah, I think in California they're starting to give people even more money. I think it has to do with taxes though. But yeah, one more thing. So, I don't know. I don't understand how. I don't know. To me, it's just very sad in the time that we're in, because, you know, most people, they regular people, like we normies, but it's regular people out there. They just go to work. They don't really watch the news. They don't pay attention to stuff like how I do. I feel like I've been paying attention way more to politics than I have ever, because like once I realized that it got to a point where, you know, politics, some people try to stay out of politics, but politics is basically you deciding how you want the government to interfere in your life. You want to be in your life a lot or a little bit or no government at all. So at a certain point, you got to recognize that the government exists. So it's just sad how some people, they're completely oblivious to what's going on. And I think it's just, hopefully it doesn't get here. But I think it's just going to get to a time where it's too late. And people, we end up back where we started, where like people are trying to break away from the government or have the government leave them alone. But it's going to take a rude awakening.
Right on, man. Well, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, thanks a lot, man. Have a great night. I just want to say thank you because it means a lot, especially like to people in my shoes. Who only get to see like the black role models, stuff like that. So thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
All right, same to you. All right, let's get to another call here. 757, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Yeah, Mr. Logan, Chesapeake Bob here. How you doing?
I'm well. About yourself?
I'm doing the best we can. I got a couple questions for you.
All right.
I was curious because I didn't find you until April of last year. I was wondering, did you see a pretty big rise in your subs during the pandemic?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because, I mean, there was a whole lot happening, first of all. And then second, people were home. So there was a rise in new YouTube viewers or new consistent YouTube viewers. So, yeah, definitely.
Well, I would be one of them. And to be honest with you, I never really watched a whole lot of YouTube until the pandemic hit. I normally am a traveling software consultant, and I was actually doing teaching gig up at MIT when all this went down. But I do want to do one thing. I want to thank you, okay? Because I found you early on in the pandemic and some others, and I listen to you guys all the time. And you're the only one who has a call-in show that I know of. So I want to appreciate you doing what you do.
Well, thank you. I mean, it means a lot to me that I'm able to help you. So thank you for watching and paying attention. It means a lot to me.
Unfortunately, my company has decided that it's okay. We can go back on the road. So I've been back on the road the last couple of weeks. And I want to tell you, what are your thoughts about masks on planes and in airports?
I think it's not needed because, I mean, I just don't really understand. I feel like it's just a liability thing from the airports, from and the airlines as well. Because if someone catches the bug on the airplane, they don't have to deal with lawsuits. Or I don't really know, because the CDC says one thing, and then the airlines and the airport say something else. CDC says if you got the virus, if you got the vaccine, you could go on the plane. A lot of people do, and they're not trying to check for cards wherever you go. So just let everybody get on the plane, no mask, and it's fine, because we know that the masks aren't really that effective. We know what the vaccine does. So I don't really see the purpose in continuing this whole charade, but people still do it.
Yeah, and as you know, flying out of Norfolk, you're not going direct pretty much anywhere except your hub. So it's going to be a long flight, or two flights.
That's right.
And I think it's given some sort of a power trip to the crew, and I'll tell you why. On the way back from Minneapolis, I had to go back to Atlanta and sit in Atlanta for 2 hours with my mask on. And then we got on the plane, and the plane ended up pushing from the gate, and then we had to go back to the gate because we had two ladies sitting in the back. I was in first, just because I have so many miles. And I had to go back to the gate, had to take those two ladies off the plane because the young crew, and it was a young crew, got into it with these two ladies because they would not pull their mask over their nose. They had it over their mouth, but they wouldn't put it over their nose. And to me, that's just a power trip.
Yeah, it's like, okay, are we really going to are we going to take the whole plane back to the terminal because it is something kind of small like that? It's silly.
They did. And I have another thing, and I have my own thoughts on religion, and I'm going to switch it on you real quick, and I won't ask you about yours. But do you think that God has a sense of humor?
I think maybe so.
I was sitting in a hotel room, which was weird for me after a year and a half of not being in a hotel room. I've been on the road for 17 years. But I was sitting there and I was reading an article where lightning struck a George Floyd monument and basically blew it apart. I'm sure you probably did a video on it. I haven't had a chance to go back and read them. But did you see that?
I did see that, yes.
So not only does God have a sense of humor, but apparently the lightning strike was so precise, God also goes to the range a lot.
Hilarious. I mean, that was a right on. I'm talking about super accurate shot. Couldn't have been no more accurate. Hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know if you did a video on it. I'll find out here shortly. I by the way, I got my hat, and I love my hat, but I'm not real sure how the one that you're wearing right now. I can't remember how I got that. Could you remind me?
Went to ablmerch.com. Is that what you did?
Oh, yes, sir. That's right. That's correct. That's exactly what I did. And I'll give you a piece of advice, okay? You have been doing this nonstop since I can tell, since was sitting at home for the pandemic. You need to take your lovely wife on a 2-week trip, and I'll tell you what. I've got over 2 million miles with an airline. I have over 1.8 million miles with a hotel room. You pick a place for 2 weeks, I'll send you both. And that's a promise.
Wow, okay. Well,
I don't super chat. I don't send money any other way, but I feel that this is the least I can do to pay you and your wife back for helping me for the last year and a half. And that's a true offer.
Well, I definitely thank you for that. I'm going to look into that and see what we could do for sure. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right, sir. Well, you have a great day, a great night, and I'll let you go and appreciate the stream.
All right. Thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
Bye.
All right. Hey, that's a great offer right there. So, yeah, shout out to my man from Chesapeake for calling in. Hey, so you guys are so kind to me. I don't know what to do. But that'll be a wrap. That's how you end the show right there on a great note. And thank y'all again for being here. I appreciate you guys. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet, anywhere in the world. Thank y'all again for watching. Shout out to all the mods for doing what you do. Keep out on the Trojan chat, keeping everybody in line. Shout out to everybody for watching, super chatting, reading, commenting, lurking, whatever you're doing. I thank you. Seriously. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. I couldn't do it without y'all. And I mean that seriously. All right. I got a few super chats here that I'm going to get to. Then I wrap it on up, put the bow on the top. Shout out to Big Mo who says, I don't want the news to talk about January 6th until they talk about kids dying in the streets. There you go. Couldn't have said it no better. Thank you to Marissa Justice with the #1 emoji. I appreciate you for that. Thank you to Angel Rivera who says, hey, ABL, the scary part of Democrats controlling everything is they can use technology to totally shut out their competitors. Imagine your personal digital world shut off by some executive order. Exactly. Thank you to Gordon Voicing who says, ABL, I sent you an email today labeled, please read this through your website. I'm in Chattanooga. Would like to meet you if that's okay. You rock, sir. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Thank you to Kathy Carver for your donation. Thank you to Brian Walker who says, want to shoot my AR today before I lost it in a tragic boating accident. Glad to see ammo is finally back in stock. There you go. Thank you to the infamous Bertman who says 14% of fourth graders in Baltimore not being able to read is further evidence the problem is with the parents. Teaching your kids to read is number one. Exactly. Now, is that 14% of fourth graders not able to read or only 14% of fourth graders being able to read? Because 14% of fourth graders not being able to read is not that bad. That's like, what, 86% literacy? That's not that bad. It could be more. Trust me, it could be worse. Thank you to Hoffa's Photographic for the donation. Thank you to Charles Turner Jr. who says, I'm on a road trip and it's a reminder there are plenty of great places to live in the mountain, Midwestern, and Southern states. Idaho, Montana, South Dakota, Iowa, Missouri, Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia. Absolutely. West Virginia is beautiful. If you go there in the fall before the snow hits, like early November, it's beautiful. Thank you to Chevy who says, white man made me donate. Thank it to John D, who says 4 people shot outside the baseball game. Yep. Thank it to SoCal Sunshine, who says, what are your thoughts on Kim Klacik? Is she someone we can trust? I heard a lot about her sketchy campaign spending. I don't know anything about that. I don't know. I don't have any information about campaign spending, so I can't comment on that. As far as a person, she seems pretty cool, but I don't know about any of the other stuff. So if you have any kind of concerns, I'll just look into it or wait to see if anything comes of something that you may feel kind of uneasy about. I put it to you like that. Thank you to Frank, who says, and yet the FBI, NSA, U.S. Marshals, and Homeland Security will not investigate BLM for their attempted death threat against Americans. Exactly. Thank you to SoCal Sunshine again, who says LA County mandated the mask requirement again. So does this mean the vaccine doesn't work? LOL, what a joke. I mean, what it means to me is that they're not following the science, right? Because the CDC says you can, if you are fully vaccinated, you could go indoors and outdoors, no mask. That's what they said. But LA said it doesn't matter if you're vaccinated or not. Put your mask on indoors. So they're not following the science, right? Okay. Thank you to Unifier TV for your donation. Thank you to Matthew Phillips, who says, word on the street is Mr. Sean King, a.k.a. Talcum X, deactivated his Twitter account. I saw that happen. I'm not sure if he deactivated it or if he got deactivated by the people. But as of right now, that Twitter account is gone. It's done for. All right. So that'll be a wrap for me. Thank y'all again for being here. I'll see y'all again on Monday with a pre-recorded video, and I'll see y'all again on Wednesday with a live video. Follow me everywhere, Instagram, Facebook, right here on the YouTubes, of course. Go ahead and subscribe, like the video, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. But I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, aside from the YouTubes. And also check out the website, anthonyblogan.com. That is ANTHONY, the letter B, LOGAN.com. Check out ABLmerch.com. We got the USA Special Edition hats. We got t-shirts, stickers, mugs, and more. Links in the box. Check out one of my sponsors. Well, check out patriotpost.us, a great source of news and information, patriotpost.us. Also check out Mr1920.com. That is Mr1920.com for all your soaps. Good luxury handmade American soaps. All the links, everything is in the description box below the video. Also, if you're on your favorite audio streaming platform, the links will be in the description of wherever you're looking at it at. But that'll be it. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.